Welcome back, everyone, to the Platforms of Gym and Sim Racing Club. And as we continue this opening week of season 2026A, welcome to the new look of a Wednesday night, which starts off with something fresh. We'll get to, of course, the main event, which has been the tried and tested stuff of later. But it's going to be a double header here from Watkins Glen International tonight on this shorter cup course as well. And welcome to the Oz Legends and Supercars Supports category is its official designation in this Gentlemen's Racing Club season. Welcome to everyone. My name is Daniel Yeaman. I'll be joining you here on a Wednesday night as your commentator for this week here. Adam Lavis jumping in to bring us all the pictures for this evening. Cars are about to roll off for a short rolling start in this race here, so it's going to be a quick look through the grid. Sam Chapman, Adam Luthway on your front row here, starting with Reese Keane, Brett Parker the second row, Guy Leach, Gary Cousins the third, Darren Lobb, Dale Sharp the fourth, and Marcus Watson. Kurt Norman's going to round out your top 10 here after qualifying tonight. 5 laps for these drivers to get around this circuit here. Dave Oliver, Greg Heaney going to be the first cars outside on row 6. David Udy and Pete Matson there out of 13th, 14th respectively. Jolyn Hansen and Brett Bradbury off of row number 8. And Watto Zamora, Simon Dwight for the 9th row. And James Glasspool, no qualifying time. Apparently going to have Craig Watson to his outside on the 10th. And then if we have them all here, David Baz, Hilton Booth and Adam St. John to make it potentially 23 drivers. Who I'm seeing here, we're missing possibly 4 cars from the grid. Hansen, Craig Watson, Baz and St. John potentially no shows here in this first race. Looking at ourselves here with 2 races to worry about. 15-minute opening race and 25-minute feature with a partial invert in that second race to get looking forward to as well. But as they make their way up to the last couple of corners here, it's time to get ready for our second broadcast night of the week, second broadcast night of the season. Getting away will be in the hands of Sam Chapman there on the left-hand side of the screen here. In just a second, Barney drops the hammer. It's time to go racing here on a Wednesday night with the GSRC. Chapman going to lead them away nicely here. Luthwaite's down into 4th place. Keane and Guy Leach up the inside. They're going to get the spots of him here. And watch out, folks. It's the crack layout here at Watkins Glen. Track limits. One track limits to turn 1 as they bowl out wide, but there's contact middle of the pack. Darren Lobb's around, and I think it's been Marcus Watson and down Sharp and Big Matson. All tangled up in the background of this shot. Watson limps away best to 4. But you've got Sharp, Matson and Lobb in trouble. Looks like Jolyn Hansen has joined the race for us. So 20 cars going to take the start of this opening race in the front of the field. There you go. Get themselves ordered up. Line up in a row, boys. Go and catch Sam Chapman if you can. And use that draft to suck yourself back up to the lead. And indeed, now it's a 5-car pack for the lead in the 4-car pack, 6 down to 9th. As they get into the bus stop, in a loop for the first time. P6, that's James Glasspool up 13 spots, all kinds of out of shape in the middle. He gathers it up by the exit though, as we come back up to this carousel corner, and we get ready to take the shortcut back towards the end of the lap here. And again, able to use all of the runoff here, and noting there, of course, on the timing tower, slowdown penalty for Watkins and Glasspool as well, after overdriving the chicane of this first lap. They'll fall back in line, and still got to clear that flag in the next 15 or so seconds. Going to drop back outside the top 10 as Nolanson will pass him, and Greg Heaney ends up the outside as way out wide there. The penultimate turn is going to be Eduardo Zamora, but no worries, as I said, track limits is A-OK in those particular kinds of corners, such as 1, 5 and 6 around this Watkins configuration. As lap 1 is complete, it's Chapman, Luthwaite, gearbox, or nose to gearbox, but Reese Keane up the inside will take away that P2 momentarily. As meanwhile, part of me further down the back, Dave Oliver's going around in turn 1. They see him broadside of the Legends car mid-pack. Unfortunately, he's got that all out of shape, I think, by himself. I might need to go confirm that one for you folks as we watch the leading pack here work their way up the hill. Eyes on Reese Keane there in the red and the blue on the inside of the run up turn 4. Luthwaite hunting out to dry here on this second lap, so it's going to be Brett Barker gets on through, and now Guy Leach pushing Barker as they come 3 wide up towards the back bumper of Chapman. And it'll be 2 by 2 as they go into the chicane here. Look at them using all of the curve. As one of them is loose. That's going to be Guy Leach, I think. Yep, around he goes to the 360 on the exit. Racing line contact with cars behind. Oh, David Udy, Gary Cousins have all cleaned him up. And that's going to be a bit of a nasty moment. Another slowdown penalty for Glasspool as Leach with a mechanical black flag has chosen to get back to the pits. That will probably be his opening sprint race done and dusted right there. And with that said and done, Adam Lavis, welcome you into the commentary for this one tonight. A little bit of a madcap scramble to get this one underway, but no surprises. Low-powered cars, drafting friendly circuit like Watkins Glen, and everyone going hell full at the right from the get-go.
Yeah, they might be low-powered cars, but they're very light and zippy, so when you're driving them, they don't feel that they feel they got plenty of power for the size of the car they are. And given that they're half the width of the normal car, it's much easier to run side by side. So you see a lot more sort of MotoGP style racing and a lot more side by side where you wouldn't normally see it. So good close racing, and it's good to see these guys having a good crack.
Once again through the S's, it means being the leader is a bit of a dangerous game. Brett Barker will challenge and be in front as we come up the hill. Luthwaite with the double draft though to the outside, 3 wide, 4 wide down the stretches. Here comes Reece Keane up the middle of the road. There you go, folks. That is how timing the run can come to your advantage. He will be the leader as we approach the bus stop, but he's in so deep he has to back it up to make sure he doesn't overshoot the corner. And Chapman's right on his bumper once again. And Luthwaite plays the long game, backs off this group of 3 in front of him here. Barker there in the rusty old 95, going to settle in, and then they swing around here onto the chute once again. It's a bit of a swipe almost there from Keane towards Chapman as they sort out how much of the track they want to use here tonight. Already past 4 minutes down, 11 to go. We'll go to our first replay thanks to Trophi Club. So here we go, back towards lap 1. So Lob gets loose after a touch, I think possibly with Keane. There are 2 rusty cars there, so that might have been, pardon me, where is Guy Leach, who's the other driver in a rusty looking car. But unfortunately, Lob gets loose, gets into Watson, and also cleans up Joel and Hansen and Pete Matheson and Doug Sharp in that process. And then later on, separate incident, there goes Dave Oliver around, and actually you got Greg Heaney cleaned up in the spills of that one, as then way out wide, that would be, I believe, Marcus, having to dodge that one there. So actually they're just the cut back from replay to live as we look at, third replay of the session here, as this is Gary Cousins. They're coming on the scene of Guy Leach. Bang! There's the wreck on the exit of the bus chicane. The confirmation from race control. No further action for the lap 1 turn 1 incident with Dyson, Watson and others. As back to live pitches, it was 2 by 2 into the inner loop chicane here, and Sam Chapman back to the front of the field as we pass the 1/3 distance mark, or 1/3 time clock marker, and it will be Reece Keane reversing out, drop back into second place. Luthwaite takes a spot off of Barker, but this is going to be this part of the race. Give and take, ebb and flow. There's no real point to racing overly hard here. Just maintain your momentum the best you can around this circuit. As you can see, they've got themselves 8 seconds back to anyone else in their racing competition this for. So they've done themselves a pretty dang good job of it here so far tonight. Your biggest mover, despite the slowdowns and being a little ways off the leading group of drivers here. As you can see, there is Glasspool in that 979. He does have company here. Kurt Nommensen going with him for the moment. Up 4 spots is Nommensen there in that Pennzoil yellow submarine inspired looking machine as they'll work their way through the last turn and take the run towards the start-finish line. They're lapping currently about a second off the pace of the leaders, potentially more. Again, Luthwaite just set a 1:25.8, his best of the session. It's not officially the fastest though, so we have had a faster lap that was valid. So that's going to be the thing indeed. As Keane to the inside of Luthwaite gets blocked though by Chapman up the hill. Going to go to another replay here. Darren Lobb on his own, smacks the fence outside turn 1. That's the risk of running wide here. Oh, just in front of the leaders. So he actually bails out of it there, parks it up off the road. So that's his sprint race done here tonight. As here we go, side by side at the inner loop. Keane around the outside of Chapman the first half. He then gets the inside for the middle of the chicane, but Chapman now inside for the exit and the carousel as we'll swing around here. Lap 5 of what will be a maximum possible of 11. If that's been calculated correctly. Either way, it's 15 minutes. That's really the main thing, as you can see, that matters on the clock. Luthwaite there, a little wide on the exit of turn 5, will slot in behind Brett Barker. Apparently, Eduardo Zamora is a little slow through the exit of the chicane in the 22 machine, but it's 2 by 2 through turn 6. It's Chapman up the outside of Keane. Luthwaite in behind him. Barker in behind Keane. Going to maintain the 2 by 2 until we get to the last corner. And Barker will bail out and dip to the racing line in the apex there. And they'll actually switch up a little bit there. Luthwaite now leads the inside line. Does he? Nope. He gets stuck. Keane gets stuck. The overspeed in the draft, Adam, is absolutely ridiculous. Watching there, Reece Keane at the front stretch alone off a medium speed corner like the last turn. Just absolutely range up. As Barker's around. Brett Barker, the 95, spins it on the exit of turn 1. He's going to drop out of the lead pack.
It's this is one of the cars still on the surface where the slipstream is still pretty potent. We did have a bit of a nerve to the towing capabilities in the sim last couple of updates ago, and a lot of cars have really struggled with racing due to that. But these little buzz boxes still plenty of punch and able to get the move done with a bit of a tow.
Oh, he's back in the pack. It's just not the pack he wants. It's now fourth place. It's Nommensen and Glasspool side by side. The draft going to allow Nommensen to sweep past and actually get Barker back up into P5 as well in the process. In fact, quote unquote, he's still fighting for one of the spots that he was prior to all this. We'll watch the replay from up top here, and the curb unsettles the car, unfortunately for him there, and around he goes in a fit of smoke, and ended up broken dreams there. Some more updates from race control. 15-second post-race time penalty to the 58 of Gary Cousins for an incident with the 65 machine, which, pardon me, looking for that number 65. Brett Bradbury, yes, sorry, he's up in 8th place at the moment, which is on lap 2. Gary's down in 13th, so that was some of the drama. I believe afterward turn 1, because that's not Guy Leach's stuff. So here we go. Battle for fourth, across the line. Barker holds it, but Glasspool will swing up the inside of him. Thank you very much. Take that place away, but in a bit deep. You can obviously throw it in deep here. That is the advantage of this layout. It's very friendly to those who may perhaps not too keen on track limits in this day and age. Is Brett Bradbury will be the next car to get himself a time penalty for incident with Greg Heaney, James Glasspool and others on lap 2. Still early on, some more again, slow off of turn 1, and Adam St. John's also apparently had a bit of a slow run off the last turn. As we'll watch these guys here for fourth place once again. Chapman Keane have just exchanged spots for the lead once again. They've been able to drop Aidan Luthwaite as part of the melee. Not really melee, I should say, but Barker's spin at turn 1, tripping up Luthwaite's ability to get a run off the corner. He's absolutely flogging it there off the exit, off the carousel to try and catch up, but he's being dumped because he's not in the draft of Keane, who's threatening Chapman, and these two are now playing just smart enough here. They're not getting themselves losing speed through the corners, and it means that they're just going to add time here on the straight. A black flag has come out from iRacing, mind you, for Dave Oliver there on the tower, so that's not an incident that's been referred to him by Liam, who's helping with live stewarding this evening.
I assume it's just a points list.
Yeah, there's a possibility it might have been. He's had a bit of a rough night tonight, has Dave. Let's watch this here, another replay, and another solo spin this time at turn 1. Getting the rear a little loose as he tipped it into the corner and didn't quite get it to hold down steady. As we go back live, this is the front two here, now in a race of their own, and unless they trip each other up, this is going to be fine. And you can see here, one little thing with these cars, they were made for contact racing. Got themselves the bumper bars front and rear, so they should be able to take a little bit of nudging just like that there down to the inner loop chicane. And it will be Chapman holding Keane back for the lead as Brett Barker's just swung high Glasspool. We also made a check-in on P6 if we can. Kurt Nommensen's been dropped by Brett and James in the last couple of laps. Marcus Watson trying to recover is up to 7th, and then there's Brett Bradbury in this situation as well. Mind you though, Bradbury, another driver with a post-race penalty, 10 seconds to him, as I said. So he won't factor into this officially post-race. But it will matter for the purposes of inverts and the like. As Watson up the inside there at the carousel, he's given a bit of a free one by Nommensen. As side-by-side in the foreground of shot there between James and Brett, once again making their way into these couple of corners. This is going to be the good thing, I think, tonight. I was perhaps a little concerned. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect with these cars. Small, nimble, often means good for pack racing and the like, Adam. And whilst the pack has fractured, and speaking of troubles actually for another moment, 256 Simon Dwyer has stopped up near that carousel corner on the end of the back straight under Mustard chicane. So I'm not sure what's happening with him. We'll have to maybe see if we can find out in due course. But you see here that even if the packs splinter, we're going to get plenty of racing in and amongst them. Just going to make sure these guys don't end up in situations where they're in trouble and isolated on their own. And I'll tell you, Luthwaite, he'll be kicking himself right now because he's stuck on his own, just cannot go any faster. Watson, middle of the road defence. Nommensen decides he's going to wait, stays in behind him. Bradbury, though, wants a piece of this one. Round the outside, doesn't need to take the first apex kill, but he hit the second one just right, and he'll jump into that spot there. It does give Watson some breathing room, though. I need to make sure they press on here to not catch up. As we'll check in here with Simon Dwyer, what's happened coming up to the carousel. Some kind of issue there because his jams on the brakes. and ends up parking there for a moment. Okay, so I suspect something along the lines of screens or sound or freeze. Probably your first takers, because it looks like the inputs were working in some respects. There's another race control issue coming through, and this one, unfortunately, not too much of a shocker, but definitely going to sting all the same. 15 seconds post-race, Guy Leach, that unsafe rejoin causing the incident on the exit of the bus stop there on lap 2. You can see at least 4 cars there in the forms. 65 of Bradbury, the 58 of Cousins, the 979 of Glasspool, and there was a 4th driver there, apologies, I think it was David, maybe, involved in that one there in the aftermath, unfortunately. As a backup to live pitches, back up to the battle for 4th, Brett Barker and James Glasspool still nose to tail. But the main thing here is they're not really able to catch Luthwaite, it seems, at this stage. So we're going to have the battle for the race win here at this particular point in time, as they're coming here on lap 10. We're already down to a lap and a half to go, just like that, as things somewhat filtered out there. As you can see, battle for 1st, battle for 4th, and battle for 7th, where we're going to have to keep our eyes on here in the closing lap and change. As what can Reece Keane do? And how does he want to be in front? Adam, with this, the kind of draft that we see in these cars, would you want to be in front by the bus stop, or do you want to stay behind and make a bit of a gamble on getting through here into the last 2 turns?
I think the second last corner might be the last real. It would be a bit of a gamble trying to get a drag to the lines. I don't think the draft's quite that potent, but it all depends on the run. But I think what Chapo's trying to get here is he's trying to force Reece Keane into making a mistake and breaking a toe, because he's got him right on the edge here. So he's just trying to run and run hard.
All right, white flag waved by Barney right on cue. 30 seconds was remaining as well on the clock. So time to perfection, 11 laps it will be for this opening races. Off of turn number 1, the 90s is called here at Watkins Glen. The lap gets underway for Chapman and for Keane. As they climb the hill, the gap begins to close. 4 tenths of a second. You see there, watch it scrolling across between the hundreds and the thousands, ticking away rapidly as we watch them filter off the side now. Keep an eye on the battle box, bottom right of the screen. It's down inside of 3 tenths, coming towards 2 tenths. A 10th now as Keane up, range into the outside. He's going to have to commit around the corner. No, he'll tuck in line, but he's right there now. So as long as he gets a clean run here through the bus stop, and that looks pretty good from both of them there. Prime position has now been set for Reece Keane to get the slingshot and go past Sam Chapman for the opening win of the Aussie Legends support series here on a Wednesday night to kick off this season 2026A. As here we go, there's enough of the draft. Reece Keane will pop to the inside of Sam Chapman, but it's not enough to clear him into the penultimate turn. Side by side will be the name of the game. No, it's not. Chapman can't maintain the speed. Tucks back inside, and now Keane, defensive, holds the inside in the middle of the road. Is there enough here for Chapman, perhaps with a cut up the inside? Better drive is potentially is on here. I know you said this might not be on here, Adam, but we're going to be a drag race to the line. 600ths for Reece Keane will hold on by half a tenth of a second over Sam Chapman for the opening race of your Wednesday night action here at the German Sim Racing Club. And it'll be Luthwaite there in 3rd place. Glasspool and Barker side by side, drag again. And I think Brett Barker might have just got it. Oh no, your results say ever so slightly different. Glasspool holds on by 0.017 of his own.
When it's that close, we'll have to wait for the official results, because there can be a slight discrepancy between SDK and the official results at the end. So we'll keep an eye on that when we bring the results up. Yeah, definitely close there at the end.
Yeah, the numbers I'm seeing from within the sim are indicating a Glasspool was hung on by the skin of his teeth. That'll be our closest margin across the field. As our last couple of cars here on the lead lap going to come on through to finish the race. It's just Gary Cousins here, P12 finish for him in this run, as we're going to try and get that photo finish shot lined up for you here in a moment, if we can, folks. And indeed, there we go. So penultimate turn, Glasspool leading Barker to the line, and this is the case. So there's a genuine chance here, good clean run through the last turn, and you can be in position, but it's going to need to clearly be a fraction more required. Because here you go, Barker pops at the last possible moment, and there you go. That's what 17 thousandths of a second looks like in these Legends cars there at Watkins Glen. So that's everyone across the line for the opening race. We should be able to get you those official race results here in just a couple of moments' time, whilst the drivers get a 3-minute breather to reset and prepare to go again. 54 thousandths of a second the margin across the line for Reece Keane over Sam Chapman in this opening sprint of the opening round of the season. Aiden Luthwaite, unfortunately, you can see that just gets absolutely dropped by the lack of draft in the second half of that race. will hang on to his third place position on the podium, though, and then you can see 17 thousandths of a second between Glasspool and Barker for fourth and fifth, respectively. And then Marcus Watson was trying to catch them down, but we'll have to settle for that P6 ahead of Kurt Nomlinson there in the Pennzoil Submarine for seventh. Brett Bradbury, eighth on the road. Obviously, factor in time penalties, but that's more of a thing to worry about after the situation. You can see, obviously, 1 point per position as well until you don't classify for points. Behind him on the road, Greg Heaney, Hilton Bruce ran at the top 10 with Zamora, Cousins, Hanson, Sharp, and Dwyer, the last cards on the lead lap, down to 15th place. And then Dave Oliver and David Uni, 1 lap down each in 16th and 17th. Adam St. John, 3 laps down, but still finishing in 18th. Pete Madsen, 4 laps down and finishing in 19th. 7 laps short, and it would appear either not finishing or retiring for Darren Lobb equals a no-show, and likewise for no points, for him. And same for Guy Leach there with an early retirement after that bus stop incident for him. And that will be our 21 cars that started the race and finished or did not in that one. Hopefully, we'll see them all out on the track once again. Based on what I can see, I don't see any disconnections, so we should be looking to get those 10 rows back on the circuit once more, which will be what we like to see here. Got 25-minute feature coming up, but of course, one of the things here we need to take an eye out for, of course, is the club itself here at the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. This series is going to be supported by the merch store at merch.tgsrci.com. So it's a bit of an official name of a mouthful, if I was to say it all in full. The merch.tgsrci.com Supercar supports Aussie Legends series here on a Wednesday night. But make sure to check out the website there, gsrcmerch.myshopify.com, if you're looking to get yourself some gear to support the club and to rep the club while you're out and about. T-shirts, hats, hoodies. I see that singlet there in the shirt. So merch.tgsrci.com, of course, is the link you need to go to there. But just trying to think, Adam, you can see obviously keychain there as well. Anything else that we're missing from the graphic to really sort of highlight as the big merch things? Just do a quick little.
I think that's the main. I think it's the main things. We've got the bucket hat. It's a keychain / bottle opener. There is some couple of stickers left. There's like little sort of 4-inch long stickers of the text logo. And we've got a plethora of shirts, a couple of hoodies, some singlets, tank tops. So we've got a good supplier who's like an on-demand supplier, which allows us to have multiple designs. And whenever they put a different style of apparel up, then we can obviously attach some artwork to it and put it on the shop. So keep an eye out, and whenever something new pops in, we'll put it on the shop and give you a chance to add to your wardrobe.
There we are indeed, and with that note there from you, that's the end of the warm-up session, so we can now turn our attention to the second and final race for these Aussie Legends cars here tonight to kick off the opening week of racing for this category on a Wednesday. So we're going to invert the top 10, and critically, that puts Hilton Booth in the hot seat to kick this race off here tonight. So watch out to see what he can do from what will be the pole position. Greg Heaney shares this front row with him on this 25-minute race here with Brett Bradbury, Kurt Nomlinson, then on your second row, Marcus Watson, Brett Barker the third, James Glasspool, Aidan Luthwaite for the fourth, and Sam Chapman, Reece Keane, the fifth and final row here tonight. Then from there down to the final drivers who finish that race. There will be drivers starting where they finish with Zamora, Cousins, Hanson, Sharp, on row 6 and 7 respectively. Simon Dwyer, Dave Oliver for row 8, David Uni, St. John for row 9, Pete Madsen and Darren Lobb for row 10, and if indeed you see a Guy Leach running 21st on the 11th row by himself to kick things off. There was just a little question there about what to expect in this race. 25 minutes, whether it would be considered a compulsory stop or not. The spreadsheet says no, and that would sort of make sense with the shorter racing here tonight, but I kind of get the feeling, is there a possibility they're field limited? Because there's a note that says they're field limited in the spreadsheet, so that might be a bit of a clue. The driver's going to come down the pit lane in this race, but say it ain't so. So, iRacing BMW safety car are going to pull away here in just a second. Wimby in the hands of Hilton Booth to wait for the green flag from Barney. Trigger fingers are happy here, but the flag is down, the lights are out. It's time to go racing for the second time here at Watkins Glen. And the final time for the Legends cars here tonight. Booth uncontested in turn 1 as Heaney though ranges up. Contact though at the first corner. Around goes Brent Bradbury to the outside of the corner there. Off fan out on the exit there, using the runoff there. This time just one car around. Kick off the opening race as they swing up the hill into the S's. On cold tyres once again. Robinson has just lost it up big time. He's down to P10 already. 6 spots lost in this opening show as Chapman and Luthwaite, a little bit of hip and shoulder up the hill, will cause Luthwaite to check out wide. Here we go, 4 wide for the race lead already. Watson, Glassball, Heaney, Booth. Oh, almost 5 wide for half a second as Chapman forces the issue. But it's going to be Glassball who leads them into the field. Heaney to the grass. Through the inner loop there, can't hang on to the run. As they all check up now as Marcus Watson gets Glassball on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Chapman up to 3rd. He has found a way through like a knife in hot butter here, folks. Hot knife in butter. We'll get that one right next time. And they come off the carousel here. Nice ball looking for now. Down. He's defended by the side. No, he can't. The car's too small. They're going to go 3 wide, of course, here into turn number 6. And it will be Watson to the inside. Can he take the race lead from Sam Chapman, who's already looking to get back to the front of this one here. They'll swing into the penultimate turn. Still 3 wide inside the white lines. And the last corner coming up here. Swing on around. And it will be Chapman who's officially leading here at the end of the first lap from 10th to 1st. He's picked through the field very nicely. They're marking that, giving him the push to try and secure this one. But they're all the way to the inside of turn 1. Going to be a very tight line, slow through the corner. Watson tries to spin out wide here. Hang on to the line and run out the speed as the 65, Brett Bradbury, salt to the wound. He's going to drink that fault at turn 1 of lap 1 that saw him around. He'll be penalised post-race with that one as well. And whilst we're in the warm-up, there was also a penalty with 6:32 in race 1. This is Reece Keane actually getting a weaving penalty with Chapman. So that's actually changed the situation there with race number 1. The results is 4 wide, and we're nearly 3 rows deep here at this situation. Chapman, Keane back out of the game, but Keane's in too high. He's going to take the grass here through the neutral chicane. It'll check up Marcus Watson unless he can get to the inside. Hops over the curb. Rear wheels were in the air. That's how loose these cars, well, stiffly sprung these cars are. It doesn't particularly like bouncing. You've got to be very careful that one there. But on the inside and the Rust 95. And Luthwaite's still in 4th. They are still now concentrated as this massive pack. Keane with the slowdown is back in 7th place there. And you can see this is the kind of racing you kind of hope to see in some respects. We could go back to, what is that? 17th with Gary Cousins. That's Chapman spinning. Goes to contact, he's gone as Zamora's off the sideline. Ryan Leach ball on the 2nd lap, a 2nd time. Oh, and then a car for the background, I think is Matson or St. John. They're way out in the weeds. Can't quite pick up who it is, apologies there, folks.
There's a couple of separate incidents.
Chapman to the pit lane to fix up his car, maybe try and get the fuel that he needs in it, but it's probably too early for that. Bloodbath has seen now Nathan Luthwaite get to the race lead. Watson's still in 2nd. Darren Long, a chance at redemption, sits there in 3rd with Nominson in the submarine. They're in 4th place, side by side, 2 by 2. Up the here we go, but Lobb is looking for 3 wide already. He tried. Oh, Watson shuts the door on Luthwaite, he shuts the door on Lobb. They're going to go nose to tail though. Nominson hung out to dry on the outside. I suspect there goes this push that will allow Watson and Luthwaite to get clear here on the run up to the inner loop chicane, but in the 2nd pack of cars, Dave Oliver up the inside of Reece Keane will take the spot away. Greg Heath recovered, hanging on to 7th place. There's Oliver, gets the buck, and around he goes. The 2nd driver to take the apex curb to the bus stop too tight. Unlike Marcus Watson though, he pays the price, the car unsettled and on an angle. Now if that's a bit of a warning sign you didn't want to see, well, the guys listening to that, they've just been given the hurry up there. It's back at this front pack here. Watson leading Luthwaite, but Lobb to his inside will take P2 here to the penultimate turn. Sweep on in. Luthwaite going to try and hustle it around the outside to maintain the spot, and he might just be able to pressure for it. And he will indeed. Side by side through the last turn. Lobb has to sweep out and over. Oh, there you go. How about that? Of all the drivers, Watson's the one who touches the fence on the exit of the last corner there. But they'll get back in line for the mega push. Will they? No, Luthwaite says, I want this P2 back. As up towards turn 1, but it's actually perfect. Gets Lobb with the draft. He's going to go for P1. Under brakes, the slipstream, getting him the slingshot he needed. But no, Watson hangs on the exit of the corner there. Pardon me, looking at the battle for 5th place as well. 2 packs of 4. Currently really going, pardon me, top 4, then another 5 cars. Going at it here, hammer and tongs. We're 1/5 of the way through the race. And these boys are ready to juke it out as the 2nd pack. Reece Keane's got James Glasspool pushing, but Dale Sharp with the run. Goes to the inside. Darren Keane's turned around. He's in the fence. And that That might just be his night done. It's front contact, rear contact. He is spin across the road. Jets, watch him. Oh, Gary Cousins. Lucky escape there for the 58 machine. That was spread eagle across the track, and he nearly cleaned up the 632. Escapes with a whisper. As out the inside of Brett Barker is now David Uni, second rusty machine here. In fact, they are using the same paint job as Uni. He's losing it, and gone. Around he goes in the Armco. And backwards for good measure as well. That'll slip time. Oh, trouble Glasspool. And Lob. Oh, it's sharp as well. Multiple cars. Oh, the next crash into it. Barker goes. The Glasspool's out, and this one rolled up on the wheels.
Well, that'll escalate quickly, didn't it?
It was lap 2 apparently in race 1. Longer race in race 2. Stretch it out to lap 4, gentlemen, and that is where it's going to be an absolute murder scene. And now it's a 2-car breakaway once again at the front of the... Oh, no, it's not. It goes around from second place. Marcus Watson now is all by himself. Luthwaite in second. 3-second gap, though, might just mean that the battle for the race win is done. There's a penalty coming in here. Lap 2 incidents under review. Brett Barker getting at fault for the contact with Sam Chapman. That's something else we haven't even seen in full that we kind of wanted to as well. Oh, it's madness here. It means that Gary Cousins has avoided about 3 wrecks in this race here. Adam, he sits in 8th place, trying to push Joel and Hanson along there in the Army surplus colours machine, the 977. Maybe just Army colours in general. Probably shouldn't add on surplus without particularly picking that one out there. But that mottled green look certainly blending in with the grass pretty nicely. Well, I'd say we need to look at a replay, but I feel like if we say that, we're going to miss something. Maybe, just maybe now is the time, but I'll leave it up to you.
I think the unfortunate with that sequence of events there, it's the split of Phillip. We've got, like, Normanson and Bradbury are pretty close, but other than that, it's sort of calmed itself down, so we can have some time to dissect what's actually happened here. So we'll start with the first one with Brett. I think he just didn't quite leave enough space on the outside.
Brett Bradbury, lap 1 in that martini colours. Yeah, unfortunately, it's cruel, but it's a slam dunk. Yeah, self-inflicted penalty there indeed. In fact, funnily enough, right now, as I'm watching live, separate to the broadcast feed, Bradbury and Normanson are back together once again at turn 1 as we speak. So there's that one there. So, yeah, there we go. Barker touches the left rear corner through the multiple turn. That says there's some more involved. Oh, Leach there gets runs into Chapman, and then gets run over, I think, by Uni and all of that one there. There's the aftermath for Zamora. Car getting high-sided to the 45 degrees. And that was practically his race done and dusted right there and then. And then Keith Matson, same corner, I think a lap or 2 later. Around he goes after contact with, if I catch which car that would have... lap 2, separate incident.
Yes, and John trying to get the inside.
Rejoin happening there off circuit. Oh, Nobbers has just gone live on lap 6. And going to look at pit exit for Guy Leach. Or was he just going to pull this one over, perhaps, in that case?
I think he might have got a black flag for speeding, wasn't it?
Yeah, that does look like a bit of a undone here, because he has also left the server. We will not see the 460 back out in track once again tonight. And then here's the last incident. Glasspool, Keane, and the Keane's car rolls. And look at this here. We've got 3.5 wide, almost 4 wide. They have to sort this one out pretty promptly there. As Dave Oliver's just been involved in the incident, and he's just retired from the session as well. And he goes, Uni just caught it in the back on the side of my eye, and yep, was fighting the rear the entire way through the carousel. Slaps the Armco a couple of times for his trouble. Oh, Darren Lobb and Greg Heaney, I think, in all of that one there. So that's...
No, that's Luthwaite.
That was Luthwaite's car. Oh, pardon me. And yeah, look at that there. Sharp across the road, Glasspool across the road, then Barker into Glasspool. We'll end the night for the 979. As speaking of James Glasspool, lap 4 incident, Sharp, lack of caution was incident. As here's Nomerson, who was half a second off the back of Watson, it would have been for the race lead, but around he goes, loses out in that battle. Did we just watch lap 4? I feel like we did.
Yeah, we got, that's the replays up to lap 4.
Okay. Did I just miss the fact that Glasspool reverse or something there and all that one? I just kind of missed it whilst I was trying to
I think
take in the totality of all of that.
I'm guessing if it was the one with Keane, I'm assuming it was just lack of awareness with the just get like basically bump drafting on the edge of the corner to cause the contact. I'm guessing would be what that penalty's from.
It's with Del Sharp in particular. It's specified. I'm just going to look at myself again one last time.
Well, that one might. Oh, that would be.
They arrive on the scene of the Luthwaite lob crash.
Yeah, like he didn't show any caution into the cars.
And
Three cars.
Two runs in the back of Sharp, just catching up on myself there. So that's why, indeed,
Yeah.
there was a penalty. Okay, there we go. I think I've caught up on it now mentally, as coming up towards the halfway mark of this race, and Aiden Luthwaite, Greg Heaney going to swap spots here. Unfortunately for them, they don't really need to be doing this. They need to really push one another here if they want to try and maybe close out the gap to Marcus Bolton. If they can push each other along, they can catch it. And also, if they maintain some speed in the corners, they'll catch too. Which is why I guess normally I'd say this is the wrong way to be going about it. You want Greg to be pushing Aiden so that you get the speed bonus, and then let Aiden do his work through the corners to maintain the speed up. But if Aiden's got damage and he can't actually go fast in a straight line, this may be the ideal way around. So watch the gap here, 5.2 seconds on the exit of the carousel. It's already blown out by a bunch on this lap, but watch this here. They'll gain a tenth, they'll gain 2 tenths just by the penultimate corner, by pushing each other down the stretch. So on these easier parts of the circuit, where they can just push, they'll gain time. Let's watch this here again. It's 5.2 again. Yeah, I figured as much. There'd be damage for Jade. That's no surprises there. And in fact, there you go. He actually gets a penalty for his involvement with the incident with Darren Lobb as part of that big old melee down the chute section there. So that's going to put him down the order in the official results. Gets in the back bumper of Heaney and gives him a shove just before turn 2. And then another hit up the S's here as Reece Keane is side by side with Dale Sharp for 10th and 11th place here. They'll swing on through the penultimate turn as well. All the strategy, mindset in the games here. How can you make this work to your advantage, the Whiskey Business boys? And how long are you going to pit? I would also think if they need fuel and they can make it home from here, which you think they can, because we're just past halfway, so you better be able to get home already. I would have pitted, get those cars fixed up, and get Greg in a position to do some pushing. As Keane inside of Sharp, they're going to hang on to 9th place now. They've had a pit stop there from the driver that was noted as 11th place, which would be Mini, I think, is it?
Simon Dwyer's currently 11th.
Dwyer, sorry, yes, my apologies. DWY, pretty obvious there. And, okay, more penalties coming in, this time for James Glasspool. Up 2 incident with Adam St. John. Gets him another 10-second penalty. Let's continue to observe Keane and Sharp together. It's 26-8, 26-9. So, unfortunately for Greg and Aiden, it's not really working right now. Again, take what I think is going to be your required pit stop for fuel to make sure you can make it home. Get this sorted so you guys can go as fast as you can, because yeah, they make some time and then they're going to lose some time as they try and sort this one out. How's this here? So 3/10 gain in the opening seconds of all the pushing, but then let's watch here. Second markers once again, bumper to bumper, and they barely break even on him on that particular lap. So it's really down. So you've got to nail this, boys, to make inroads here, both of you. And watch for the second 2 timings as Watson's coming up to it. Sorry, coming out of the carousel now. You can see the dot on the track. That will be the sector indicator as Dwyer's in the wall. Exit the last turn in 13th place now for the 256. So that's one to maybe backtrack on myself in a second. So Watson's second time, 31.3. Luthwaite just gets the bumper as we approach the sector marker. So they lose time on him once again. As a note there, Glasspool and Keane incident back 4 has needed to be turned around in terms of the notation. Has come to the final sector, 20.2 for Watson. It's the shortest part of the circuit. Losing a quarter of a second because it's 2 corners back to back, left and to right. Needs the most sort of lineup and concentration to be able to make that one stick. So there's your area, fellas. Really got to stick it to each other here. Make sure Greg can stay on the optimum line. and he's not. Swings out wide. I think that Aiden being right there, it's not actually helping them, I don't think, at this stage, Adam. That's how you go, is how you push. You've got to push each other around on the optimum line here. And with the way Aiden's hunting around, I don't particularly like that either, because of the risk that he might just accidentally snag a left rear or a right rear corner when push comes to shove just the wrong way.
Yeah, well, these things haven't got a bumper bar, they've got a bull bar, basically. So if they hook those bits of metal, that's going to cause trouble for one, if not both of them, quite fast.
I mean, on one hand, it helps. You get a good push. You've got a bar surface to protect the bodywork. As Keen and Sharp have gotten together up the S's. Oh, and Dale on the radio immediately apologising for it. So let's have a look at this one here. Draft, overspeed, gets the right rear corner. Just like I said, I was worried about Luthwaite doing to Heaney, and as a result, tips both cars around into a spin as they're unloaded at one of the fastest corners on the circuit. Back live here on lap 12 of the feature race here tonight for our Aussie Legends Cup Supercar Supports category here for this season of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club 2026A. And it's Darren Lobb trying to get past Eduardo Zamora now for 11th place as well. Up the inside carousel. This one actually is one of the easier passes done on the night for now. Of course, Zamora's in a prime position to get the run back to turn 6. But we'll watch here as they come out of the carousel. Indeed, actually going to be a drag race this penultimate turn, side by side with Lobb hanging on all the way to here, but Zamora actually tucks in line. So going to play a longer game here for now, which is what we sort of expect in this stage of the race. Lobb, though, certainly not, pardon me, apologies, hanging back there, using all of the track and then some. In turn 6, finds the fence with a nudge on turn 7. And this is the last lap. Zamora wins that drag race to the line to get B back in 11th place by the line. Eventuates here. Inside, gets an apex curve and a half. And it kind of works for him, but outside line, the Lobb maintains more speed, even though he has to go further distance. He's able to stay in front and right back from him there. So that's a good little example there. That was a very aggressive apex from Zamora as they touch through turn 4, trying to get up from underneath him there, Adam. But Zamora there slowed it up, really nailed the apex curve. Darren flew it off the road, out wide, and he wins out with the overspeed, despite the extra distance having to be taken.
Yeah, good little back and forth battle here between these two. Obviously, Zamora's holding his own. We saw Darren Lobb at the front in that last race, so we know he's got some pace. Just unfortunate turn of events for this one, but yeah, be good to see how these guys see which one can come out on top here. And we're still not 100% sure whether the top 8 have to stop or not, because as I see, everyone else from 9th down has stopped, but we've seen a lot of incidents that could be damage related. Given that the only one, Lobb is the only one Lobb and Dwyer, the only ones who've pitted outside of that left 4 or 5 window. So there is a slight chance we may have to do a fuel stop, but let's have a wait and see.
As Ben just keep rolling in here, Kurt Nolanson next to pick one up. Contact with David Ward. Make sure both cars go around, and that there will put Nolanson down. Actually, at the moment, he's not going to lose any spots off of that time penalty alone. You can see his gap back to Reese King is currently 21 seconds, so he's actually sitting somewhat pretty on that incident alone. There's also a correction call made by Race Control, which puts it a big 25-second penalty on not James Glasspool, but no, sorry, that was something that was 7 Glasspool. But where is the 25? It's for 95 Brett Barker. Sorry. That 4 incident. But yeah, now it's curious because, as I said, I went and had a quick look here. It says fuel limited in the sheet, which would imply that yes, they need to stop for fuel. So Reese Keen on backwards are all good, but they've also have been in the wars tonight. Speaking of wars, Darren Lobb around on the exit of the carousel. I think it's self-inflicted. He was still with Zamora at the time. As Marcus Watson continues his merry little march away at the front of the field. It looks like really the answer is, even if you can find someone, you need to be perfect to even catch a guy who's out on his own.
Also, we all know Marcus.
Oh, Heaney, loose. He's losing it. Hang on to it, Greg. You're in the dirty stuff now. He will just have enough run off to gather it up, but Luthwaite is now unshackled by a second. I suspect with that little moment there, that's just done it for the Whiskey Business cars having any chance of working together. Simon Dwyer, turn 1. It's going to go around late. And it's gone around again at the penultimate turn, final turn as well, on lap 13 for him. So, rough one for Simon. And yeah, okay, unforced error up the inside. And the left rear tyre wasn't going to take it anymore. So around goes Lob. He stays away from any fences though, so the car's in pretty good state. Adams and John's around at the fence live in turn 1 as well. It's all kinds of madness as Luthwaite pulls the pin. He's going to come to the pit lane. He's joined by Heaney, so they'll... If they could afford to do this much earlier, they really should have done it much earlier. Because I really feel like if they got Aiden's car fixed up soon up, they might have been able to get a little closer to Watson. As it stands, it was 6 seconds before these two machines made their way into the pits. A short stop of 11 seconds and roll away again. Goes the 707 in behind Kurt Nommensen, but still going to be, looks like, the first car out on the circuit that has stopped in this race. And yes, indeed, that is the case. So Nommensen tries to fight it side by side. He's so far out wide through turn 2, he'll have to surely get in line. Nope. The inverse is true for turn 3. And then a bit of gamesmanship. I think I just heard Luthwaite lift off the throttle. So yeah, you can have that. That's fine. I'll now use that to get some slingshot off you. And the back. Yep, there you go. Bang. Just waits for it. And then Nommensen's turn to lift off, it seems, and roll back on through. So, yes, the exchange here is near fast lap to 25.7 for Darren Lobb. It's the fast valid lap. Anyways, as Watson responds, pit lane for the race leader. He should come out comfortably in front of these two based on what we've seen here tonight. And the reason Darren Lobb might have done that fastest lap possible is because he was up behind Sam Chapman's gearbox as we currently speak going up the hill. Continue watching here. Luthwaite and Nommensen. We'll get back to them in a moment because here is Chapman and Lobb. I just heard a lift as well from one of them. So that's important to note. Pit stop still ongoing for Watson. 9, 10 and a half seconds according to my numbers. Slightly better than what Luthwaite did, so he should comfortably hold the effective race lead here even after all of this is over. Indeed, he is back out on circuit as Watson. The gap is now going to be about 6 seconds once again. So that has checked the box very nicely for the 207. As we continue to watch Lobb and Chapman now playing bumper buddies down towards turn 6 here. On lap 16, time is getting close on this one here. Hilton Booth, Gary Cousins and Kurt Nommensen all still haven't stopped. Can they do it on a single tank of fuel? And if they can, how much does that affect the lap counter? Is Zamora... Oh, that's cruel. Oh, that's very cruel, Adam, there. He thought he had that one saved, and the curb said no.
Yeah, just the short wheelbase and the grippy tyres just couldn't quite get it under control, and just the weight kept shifting on him, and now he's in this battle with these three.
Well, swing past him without as much of a second glance. So Chapman and Lobb carry on their battle for now 11th place in this race. Zamora is there, but they should be able to break away with some clean pushes, although chasing the center line of the car. It's looking a little loose there as Hilton Booth says, I can't make it to the end of this race on a single tank of fuel. He comes to the pit lane. Gary Cousins is all that stands between this race and Marcus Watson. And are we on the white flag lap? We might just be. That is important to note. It's less than a minute to go. The race leader, Cousins, has gone up the hill. This is going to be close here, Adam, as to whether we're going to get another lap in or not because of the lack of a pit stop for the 58 machine. If he makes this work, well, fuel limits, apparently. Or a cheeky bit of fuel saving. Yeah, Barney waving the white. So Gary Cousins has about half a lap left. He's already up past the bus stop in the 58 machine. He's in behind Glasspool there as we pick him up here for the race lead. He just needs to roll this thing through. In fact, if he runs out of fuel here, I think he's still okay. He just needs to run out of fuel like the last corner. Not now. If it runs out now, he's in trouble. But up to the penultimate turn, he might just have made this one work here. He'll swing in. Oh, no. Okay, good. He just backed off a bit, I think. I was a little paranoid. It looked like the gap was growing way too much, but he's accelerating out of the last turn still. He's going to make the no-stop strategy work here. Gary Cousins will take the second race of the night. He avoided all kinds of chaos in race 1 to finish race 1, bit rough, bit to 12th, but from P12, he'll take a win here tonight ahead of some of the drivers you thought might have done so. Watson wants to set off a second. A close run to the line there from Luthwaite and Normanson, but it will be Luthwaite who holds on in third place. And Greg Heaney, top 5 finisher ham ahead of Brett Bradbury there. Recovery drive from the 65 as well. And then our last battle on track, Chapman and Lobb for 11th place. When does Darren take the swing at this one here? Does he wait? He looks like he might was going to wait for the very last chance. Better run through the last turn. Is it on? Is there enough draft here off the last corner as we watch them to the line? Chapman, there's a bit of a touch, I think, there. And Lobb does get the nose ahead. He does. Will that one be hotly debated or no? Just quickly looking at one again myself. It was a better run to the corner for Lobb. And I think there's a touch just as he straightened up for the corner exit. There. Chapman has to blink, keep the car under control. And that little wiggle, plus the draft that he got off the corner, allows Darren Lobb to run ahead like so. Which ends up being a margin in this race of just 0.04 of a second. Not quite as dramatic as the runs we saw in the opening sprint, but it'll do us here today. And with that, I think our results can be now declared official by the sim. Let's have a look at them here now on screen. And indeed, it's going to be 6.2 seconds for Gary Cousins there, making the no-stop strat work ahead of Marcus Watson here tonight, who looked like he was on to be the undisputed race winner, but has fallen prey to perhaps just running at full tilt all race long. Aiden Luthwaite going to come home there in third place, not able to close down the margin. Kurt Nommensen there for AITTX, I think I saw it was. Pardon me if I got that wrong there, Kurt. In this one, Greg Heaney there, P5, unable to stay attached with Aiden, and then P6 to Brett Bradbury right behind him there, our first close run across the line. Pardon me, Nommensen and Luthwaite were very close together, of course, as well. Behind them, Hilton Booth, P7, Reese Keane, P8, Dale Sharp, P9, Jolan Hansen around at the top 10. There with Darren Lobb, Sam Chapman there across the line. Our last battle to watch for 11th and 12th, with Eduardo Zamora in behind them in 13th. You then got Glasspool, Uni and St John, 14, 15, 16, a lap down and finishing. 17th for Simon Dwyer, looks like he also gets counted as a finisher in this one too. 4 laps short he may have been. Retirements from Dave Oliver, Brett Barker, Pete Matson, and over the page for 21st, we should have one more. There was also Guy Leach, indeed, with no sign of Craig Watson or David Baz from this race here tonight. Time penalties will scramble the results quite a bit, unfortunately, here, and there's quite a few of them to sort of get our head around. But we do have a couple of our drivers here in the commentary box for tonight, and so we might start with the man who finished just off of the podium in that feature race here tonight, which would be Kurt Nommensen in the number 91. And welcome into the box, Kurt. Good to have you here tonight. Tight pack racing in a car that does a lot of drafting, it seems. And the Yellow Submarine doing a pretty good job for yourself there.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Made a little mistake in that feature race. I was trying to get a bit greedy while chasing Marcus, and that's what cost me. But, you know, it is what it is. We move on to next week with it.
Yeah, officially just going back over the results from our eyes again, we will see a post-race penalty which would effectively knock you off the top 5. It'll put you in behind Greg and Brett. If the results saw that, but it might actually push you behind Hilton as well. So it looks like possibly P7 on that alone, but with other penalties that may also change again. It's unfortunately a bit of a battle to try and sort it out. But new season, new car for the opening Wednesday night slot. We're departing the American muscle and oval racing scene that we've tried for the last couple of seasons, but it's still American officially, being the Legends 34 Coupe. What do you think of the car? Obviously, tonight obviously really emphasising the drafting aspects of it. What do you think that bodes for the season if we get to other tracks where maybe draft is going to be a little less important, if we've got more of the getting the racing line and the cornering down pat making a difference?
It's definitely going to be difficult because this car is it's very loose in the rear end. If you just get a little bit too greedy on the throttle or on the brake, it will go around on you. So the draft will be really, really big. But if it's you know, if it's based on race line, it'll come down to how good you can control that slide, because it is very, very slippery even through that last corner there.
Yeah, looking at the schedule for this season, being the Supercar sports category, we are going to be running practically exactly the same season as Supercars, but there are some differences. Next week we circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, but we're going to be racing the national configuration, different to what the Supercars will be running. So same venues, but where we've got shorter circuits, it would appear the decision has been made to put in the shorter layouts for these cars, which is, I think, actually the end of it. Whilst it's not how it runs in the real world these days and how we do these things, probably fits the bill for these kinds of cars, because they don't really need the long straights, and see how it goes. But let's say here, like Barcelona, Motorsport, the Benz Sprint Circuit, as say the next three tracks up on the schedule. Of those, any chance you've driven something like this at a track like those before? And if you have or haven't, either way, which any of those you think are going to be the best for racing, or we're just going to have to take it 1 week at a time?
I'm just going to have to take it a week at a time. The closest I've sort of driven these things on road is when they dropped the new narrow track from the UK. I don't remember the name of it, but that was the last time I drove these things on road. So it's going to be a learning curve for these tracks.
Yeah, you can see there also in the back half of the season, sorry, middle of the season, Sebring Club, Miami, MIA Loop, and Gilles Villeneuve, three tracks put together there. And then Alton Park Fosters, don't see that very often on schedules. Hungaroring, which we can't shorten up, it'll be an interesting pick. And the Adelaide Street Circuit to bring it home. The full schedule there, it's been on screen thanks to Adam for putting that one up there. So it's going to be a fascinating watch through the season. But I guess, real quick to sign off here, Kurt, highlight of the race for you. You've already mentioned there making that mistake, and that and has brought you with a penalty. We'll probably call that one the low light. Something else from the race? Good, bad, interesting? You name it, you pick it.
Probably just the amount of luck I had, to be honest. I think I was right behind about 5 or 6 different crashes and just got through them by the skin of my teeth. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing what comes in next week.
Well, in that case, thank you for joining us tonight here, Kurt. Well done, as I said, out on the track. Unfortunately, penalties are going to adjust things a bit there from the P4 finish at the line. But in that case, hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing what you did next week. Anyone you want to shout out, give thanks to before we let you go this night?
If you do let me, I'll have to get back to you after the Supercars. I need to get in and jump in and do some laps, but I'll definitely do the shout outs then.
Fair enough. Good call indeed. We are getting close to the start of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. So thank you for joining us now. In that case, get to it, Kurt, and see you out on track once again shortly.
Too easy. Thank you, boys.
And in that case, we'll try and keep these next two interviews brief, and in some respects, apologies to Bradbury and Greg Heaney for doing so. But we might sort of talk to them back and forth here. P5 and 6 across the line for the two of them in race number 2, and actually the other way around, P8 for Bradbury, P9 for Heaney in race number 1. So you guys got stuck together in some respects, positions-wise, and it was a pretty close run at the end of that last race there for the two of you there. Might start with you, super quick, Greg, as the one who's organising the racing here once again on the Wednesday night for the club. How do you feel that's gone for a season opener in a new car on a Wednesday once again? And I guess, yeah, what was the experience for you out there on the track?
Oh, how much fun are these things? These are fantastic. And the fact that I think was at the start of race 2, we were about 3 or 4, maybe 5 wide down the straight. I mean, I'm doing this in VR. I had it streaming for the guys from my point of view on my Discord, and they were watching it and watching the stream at the same time. And yeah, honestly, these things are a hoot. Can't wait to bring on some of the shorter tracks, and especially for the Super Sprint at Adelaide for the last round. I reckon it's going to be fantastic.
Super Sprint at Adelaide to break up the formatting, or the round format that we'll see for most of these races. Okay, well, you have all been forearmed in that case, folks. But yeah, unfortunately, a couple of moments tonight for a couple of drivers did sort of mix things up. But yeah, you're not wrong there. Race 2, I could comfortably call 4 wide for quite a few cars. It then did break apart pretty rapidly. And in that case, I actually really speak to Brett on this one point here real quick. Keeping your car alive ended up being a pretty important part of the deal. Unfortunately for you, actually, am I getting this right when I say this, Brett? Yes, I am. Unfortunately, at the start of race 2, you ended up around on the outside, away from everyone else. Not the ideal start to that race for you in particular.
No, Stone muddled us at turn 1 and come back to 6th, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not racing the V8SC, don't need to hurry for me.
We'll try and, yeah, fair enough. It's a good point to make. The only reason I guess I'm concerned about time-wise is we're about 15 minutes before the race gets started here. So we'll try and give you guys to have a moment to speak about things. Greg, do we need to let you go, mind you, in saying that to get on the track?
No, I'm actually I'm putting the V8 in the shed this season. I'm still going to keep running the series, but yeah, I'm leaving the car in the truck for this one.
All right.
Give the early race a go and leave the V8s for the rest of the boys. But we should have a fair few of our cars on track, all dressed up in the nice new livery too. So it should be good.
Yeah, all right. Well, then in that case, yeah, let's take a moment to sort of talk about things a little bit more than in that case, although I do personally try and squeeze a break in myself, but that's neither here or there to the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so just sort of speaking of a curb, I guess your thoughts there on the fact we're at a track tonight that really emphasises the draft and the pack racing here. But it was pretty easy. Obviously, you can, if something happens that breaks the momentum, to be able to see everyone splinter into 2s and 3s and 4s. But it actually kind of ended up being like towards the end of that race as well, a lot of cars ending up on their own there tonight. I guess, say, for you, Greg, in your case, obviously you're working there with Aiden in that middle part of the race. Aiden a bit damaged, unfortunately, from the earlier lap chaos, kind of throwing things for a bit of a loop there, because we'd probably normally see Aiden in front of you rather than him trying to push you around, per se.
Yeah. I haven't done a lot of bump drafting stuff previously myself, so we did try a little bit of that in practice, and I think I ended up turning him around. I probably did it at the wrong point, maybe a little bit of a wrong angle, but yeah, unfortunately with Aiden copying a little bit of damage, and he was a little bit slower than me, but I was faster than him down the straights, but he was a little bit faster than me through the corners, so kind of a trade-off either way. So he was sitting in behind me for the most part, and basically just saying, ignore the fact that I'm here, I'm basically just a boost that comes and goes, and yeah, just trying to catch Marcus. And we're like, well, do we undercut him? Do we run on fuel? Turns out we probably actually didn't even need to pit. So we probably, I think on time-wise, I think it actually ran 1 lap short to the actual count that was in the race. So, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but we shall persevere and move on to the next round. So,
yeah, I guess flipping over to you, Brett, you mentioned they're obviously having to come from last at turn 1 to get back to the field. We saw how valuable the drafting was. I actually see your car actually having a bit of wall runs on this particular part of the replay we're watching post-race at the moment from Adam. I guess some other incidents gave you a chance to get some spots for free as people retired from the race whilst you pressed on, but how was it to be able to try and claw your way back into this at all? And I guess how much were you sort of able to, like, where were you finding time the most, given that cars in packs are going to be fast down the straights?
Yeah, in the first race, I copped an unlucky break going through the bus stop, and a car that was spinning hit me and did a lot of damage in the front end, and I lost all speed on the straight, so I wasn't making it to red line in 5th and 6th gear. But as long as I had someone in front of me, I was able to sort of stay in the tows. I tried to just latch onto people, and knew in the second race that was the big thing. As long as I could stay close to the drivers and stay within the tow, I had half a chance of working my way forward.
Yeah, in fact, well, it's a bit of a slam dunk really seeing these cars tonight. If you had a drafting buddy, as long as you could work together and things otherwise were unaffected, yeah, just able to drop cars left, right, and centre. Let's sort of turn our attention to what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Barcelona, Catalunya next week, but we'll be on the national course, so less of a front straight. bit of an unusual corner that not many drivers are going to be necessarily familiar with if they're not racing alternate layouts all that often. We do get most of the back end of the course though. So on those kinds of grounds, what do we think of the car track pairing for next week for starters?
I'll let Brett go first because I did all the picks.
Unfortunately, I am going to be in the US for the next 3 weeks, so I'm going to miss the, basically I'm back about round 5.
Okay then, in that case, real quick, let's jump to round 5, speaking of it, which is going to be Sebring Raceway's club layout. Once again, we're going to cut the circuit practically in half then to get the front straight, turn 1, but then cut across to get back to the Le Mans corner and back onto the Sunset Bend, Sunset straightaway pretty dang quickly, the Ullman straight pretty quickly then in that case. That's going to be another power track, I feel like. There's only really a couple of small corners in between to worry about. How do you think about that one once you get back?
Well, that sounds like it's a V race. It's just going to be drafting packs. It's the only corner that I can't get my head around there is the cut through. Yeah, the rest of it's going to be just one big long draft line.
And then, Greg, let's talk about just round 2 next week for starters, at least. That national course at Barcelona, Catalonia. Obviously, cuts down the front straight a little bit and gets rid of the opening sort of sector, really. But what do we think that's going to do for the racing, nevertheless, good, bad, or otherwise?
Oh, I would think that anything like in a similar vein to Watkins, where you've got the longer straights, you're going to have your little draft packs and stuff. I think the shorter tracks, so you're looking at Alton Park, the MIA Loop out at Miami, Adelaide, the sprint circuit at the Bend. Those ones I think are just going to bring the pack all together. I have had a look. I haven't turned a lap at the Miami circuit yet. I have seen a couple of videos of what the track looks like. So I think in that one, it's going to be trying to keep the things off the walls so we don't end up having a massive pile up on a blind corner where you can't see over the concrete. But I honestly think the track selection that we've gone with, mirroring the V8s as well, I think is a good thing, and obviously opting for the slightly shorter version if available, just to mix things up a little bit. So
it'll give me some variety, because at one point I was a little concerned I was going to be watching the same tracks over and over again, so not necessarily that way of putting it. But nevertheless, I'm going to have to leave it there, gents. Brett, really quickly with you, any shout-outs and thanks you want to give tonight for the racing and your results?
No, not really. Thanks to the club for putting it on.
Good to hear from you. Thank you very much, Brett. See you back in a couple of weeks once you're back on the home soil. Greg, to you then, any shout-outs, thanks you want to make note of here for tonight for yourself, the team, Whiskey's Business, or perhaps from the club's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank all the guys that turned up and put on a decent grid for the first hit out with these ones. And obviously thanking the sponsors. So we got Project X, Pumps and Pipe Supplies over in WA with Dale there. And then we've got Disruptive Labs, obviously one of the club sponsors as well, but we're running them on the car for a bit of support for Richo. And yeah, and thanking you boys in the Combox and the broadcast box.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Greg, as well. Look forward to seeing what next week brings in that case at Barcelona, and enjoy a bit of time just watching supercar racing that's coming up here in just a couple of minutes' time. And with that, folks, we'll take a short break here on the commentary. We're about 8 minutes away from the gridding for the Trophi.AI Supercar Series return. They are here at Watkins Glen as well. More of the Cup layout in just 8 minutes' time. Stay with us here at the platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and we'll get back to you in a couple of minutes' time. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Cup. Hopefully you've been sticking with us here through the short break from our Supercar Supports Aussie Legends Cup there that's just wrapped up here at the Watkins Glen International Circuit on the Cup course configuration. We're back at it again with this exact same track layout here tonight for the main event. If you're joining us live here now or on replay here now, welcome back to a brand new season of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series here for the beginning of season 2026A here at the GSRC. And as we have a look here at this circuit from the top down on Google Earth, it looks simple. It perhaps might be simple to get pretty good, but end of the day, getting it right can be quite a tricky little task indeed. My name is Eddie, and I'm going to be on the microphone for you once again here tonight and throughout the season. All things are working out fairly well. I may have to jump in the producer's chair a couple of times, and it's not going to be Matt Schmicky here with me tonight. It's Adam Layers taking care of our button pressing here for this one, and qualifying has just wrapped up. 15-minute sprint and then 5-minute feature, pardon me. Coming up exactly the same race lengths, but of course faster cars. We're going to get through more laps here tonight in these things. So let's take a look through the grid, which is going to be a bit shuffled up this season. Unfortunately, we do have other racing on elsewhere, which is taking some of our drivers away. So the first pole sitter of the Supercar series is going to be Ben Woods, who let me know that he wasn't feeling too confident about the car. He's apparently gone and whipped out a fastest time in qualifying with Jake Slade on his outside. Matt Bailey, Luke Page going to share row 2 for this one here tonight. Matt, Luke, there you can see one of our first drivers not classified by the grading system. Marcus Watson, Dane Seddon off of row number 3 with Sam Chapman, Sam Cullen, fourth row. Craig Bond and Jason Douglas make it an all-elite with a couple of TBCs, or 2 TBCs in the top 10 here tonight. Ryan Barber and Andy Barber, our first Dev Split drivers there, according to the league, but not according to the overlays. That's all right, we'll worry about that later on. They're row 6. Row 7, Jordan Eitler, Mitch Wood, Stephen Bull, Colin Bennett, row 8, Alex Seekis and Terry Marsh for row 9, Nathan Michael and Daniel Sneddon going to round up top in their AITX Revolution E-Racing is the new team name for those guys there. And our last couple of cars in qualifying should be Wade Sheedy in 21st with Luke King alongside him in 22nd, Kurt Nommensen, Dale Sharp for row 12, Pete Matson, last car of the qualifying time in 25th place. Eduardo Zamora, no qualifying time. And is that it there for you? Yes, it is. So no sign of Andrew Neal. Actually, Andrew Neal might be here too in 27th place and be our last car on the grid. The other big question that's going to come up here tonight, Adam. Question from Ben Woods. How launch? Question mark. Watch for your pole sitter to not exactly go anywhere off the start of this race. We get ready for the new season in the out. Oh dear, he's gone nowhere. And then, oh, trouble. We got around. And there's been carnage as a result. Eitler's backwards. I think I saw Mitch Wood involved. Oh, Dale Sharp's involved. Oh, it's a bloodbath as Woods is... Oh, no. There's been follow-up contact as we try and get this race underway. And Jake Slade in the updated AIT racing paint job is the driver who survives the bedlam and gets away in the lead of this race. Chased down by Luke Page. We hit the bus stop for the first time in these cars. A bit more comfortable with the curbs than the Legends cars. Obviously, a bit bigger, they can afford to take them without as much of a buck up and down the circuit. But as we work our way through, same kind of thing though. Watch them work the track out to the edges here. NASCAR layout, NASCAR track limits. Drivers will be looking to use every bit of it that they can as they work their way around the circuit. And Adam Lavis, a welcome to you as we get this first lap in the books. Unfortunately, that question mark from Ben Woods of how launch
Yeah, the inside information here with the teammate, and unfortunately he's called his own shot in the wrong direction.
Education there's trouble then at turn 1 here on lap 2 between Colin Bennett and Terry Marsh. They're both in the runoff out wide. We'll have to try and pick up how that's happened if you can. Oh dear, not too great for Terry Marsh. I think he's absolutely yeah, he's the brake marker by a lot, and he's cleaned up Bennett, so that's going to be a slam dunk review and penalty from race control. We do have live GSRC once again, thanks to our volunteers and club members who are making it all possible here tonight. As for Jake's lead here at the front of the field, 3.5 tenths of a second to Luke Page there as we get into turn number 2. Bit of breathing room to Matt Bailey, who's now dressed up in some sport colours for this Gent season. And the next ever AITX cars in Sam Cullen behind him in 4th place. Cross the line, 2 laps down, lap 3 underway. 1:11.0, 1:10.8. Dane Snedden fast, valid lap on the board at this first race. So we are going to get through quite a few laps here, probably about 13 or 14. Let's see if we can pick out this race start for Ben Woods here on the replay. Full revs.
He's in gear. I think he's let go of the wrong. He's let go of the clutch instead of the line locker.
And he goes straight to 2nd gear. And then trying to get going, and it's Mitch Woods spun across his nose. Well, okay, so there's promise. The line locker, and then the insult to injuries, he tries to get going there at the end of it all, and then gets spun by, I think that was Jordan White, who's also trying to recover. So, not all hope is completely lost for Ben, just maybe just a button misclick. Mitch Wood unfortunately tried to dodge Woods, but had Eitler there to worry about, and then that's what caused all of that there. And then, yeah, Eitler tries to go and just so messy all round. Here's that lap 2 incident between Bennett and Marsh. And, yeah, that'll be a penalty every day of the week for Terry Marsh there in the 61, unfortunately. Once race control put that one down and note it. But let's go back to the live pictures here and look at the race action. Is now 10 seconds thereabouts between Slade and Page. Bailey 7 tenths back. Cullen, Snedden, top 5 with Chase Douglas in there as well in P6. If you're wondering about the colours there on the timing tower, we do have, of course, a couple of different classes here in the Trophi.AI Supercar Series to sort of get people competing in relative grades of competition. So for the drivers with a blue background and white car number, they are designated as our elite group drivers. And so they are racing against each other for points. If you have a light grey background and white colour number, that is a dev split driver. And we're racing against those drivers for points. And the current classified dev leader is Nathan Michael in 13th place according to those overlays. And our last group of drivers is those who haven't been defined into a class just yet, with the black background and orange numbers there. So with Page, Ryan Barber, Andy Barber. Looking at my thing here, Barber's obviously a dev for what it's potentially worth, so that may be an old designation perhaps. Oh no, it just updates right then and there.
It's because
Adam is on top of it. Adam is working through it all for us here in the background. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't have them. They weren't on my short list, so I couldn't apply them yet. So now that they're here, I've added them to the list. They're in.
Because the big point there with the classes, folks, is that you are only racing drivers in the same class for points. Now, if you're a TBC driver who's not been graded yet, you better push on because you might be putting in the elite split and need those points. There's an update from Race Control, indeed. No surprises. 15-second post-race penalty going to go the way of Terry Marsh for that incident on lap 2. Speaking of Terry, he's around in some fashion on the exit of the bus stop chicane and is going to fall to the back of the pack. And Woods and mechanical as well. They're showing on the power as well for him, so he is going to be limping the 61 back to the pit lane, unfortunately. So it's been a bit of a rough lap number 5 for him as leaves his lap 6. Eyes on Sam Cullen, AITX Revolution E-Racing. Slight rebrand for the team and sponsors, and a new paint scheme to go along with it here in 2026A. And yeah, the other big news here tonight, of course, being that we are here still racing on the others racing as well tonight. It's the reason you don't have folks like Zach Haven available for broadcasting on a Wednesday night. That being, well, pardon me, Zach's not busy with broadcasting tonight. It's just it's tonight off. Normally, so we can at least take a rest of sorts and not be working every night of the week for the club here. But it's step away from the club momentarily. The return of the Logitech V8 Pro Series has begun tonight with its qualifying rounds. So drivers such as Sam Blacklock, who's now who's been the 4 times consecutive champion, is having a crack at qualifying into that. Other drivers we don't see tonight here. Goodness, I'm now drawing a blank on Will Buchanan is not here tonight. Another driver who's regularly see racing in this category. Absolutely, possibly think he might be having a crack at that too. But I haven't checked the entry list to be able to confirm that fact, so pardon me if Will is just not here at the moment for other reasons. But what it does mean is that we have potentially a new crop here of drivers who could step up into championship positions. So this could be one of our more exciting seasons of late when it comes to who is going to walk away at the end of this with the crown. Here, eyes in the mid-pack around the top 10 outright. Let's of our drivers towards the front of the dev split, possibly commingling with Alex Nicholas, who might become a dev, might be an elite. It all comes down to pace, not positions, mind you. So it's a bit of mathematical work that Adam will do in between this week and next week based on the results and the data that Iris spits out to get us an approximation of where the cars should be based on the speed they put out in this series. Just want to keep out of his page, fits the wall on the exit of turn 1. Matt Bailey will slide up the inside for second place. And an unforced error from the man who was running second, having pushed the limits too far too wide. Back to the exit wall at 45-degree-ish angling in wall. They're getting him some grief. There's also issues for Luke King apparently towards the last being slow. And Isaac and Stephen Gore wrapped in Motorsport. Mustang actually running that sort of Ford Racing Supercars reveal livery here tonight. Rather than anything from RTR in particular, at least. One of our last drivers in the leads. Not completely. Marcus Watson is down in the dumps in 17th, and then there Luke King, Ben Woods, Mitch Wood, all having a bit of a struggle in the street tonight. As Pete Matson goes behind Andrew in the Olympics, slow down. Pretty much just roll the tower, but it'll be a nice quick. Off the last turn there. They get up to the fence. We get to hear these engines roar. So there we go. Let's take 1, 2, 3. It's Blade, Bailey, Page all together still as they'll climb the hill here on lap number 9 of this race. We are 5 minutes remaining in this one too. So 9 laps in 10 minutes. We could maybe getting another 4 laps in, maybe a 5th lap. So are we going to go to at least? We're going to go to at least 13, maybe 14 laps. Is the possible question here. It's all going to come down to exactly when, of course, we're crossing the line for those laps. So we swing through the carousel, and these cars here, Adam, obviously back to conventional sizing of your race car, and come to things that get more pliable over the curbs, able to take them a bit more aggressively because that wheelbase is less likely to snap around on you here. But also means you've got to be a bit more decisive with your car positioning. It isn't as forgiving in that respect. You're going to get the most speed out of it.
Yes, the wheelbase is definitely not a problem here, but the lack of grip and the mega horsepower these things have does make them quite easy to have that rear end step it on you on entry and exit. So you need to tame the beast and try and maximise the pace to keep it in a straight line and keep it with the others.
Wasn't a camera perched up on that wall of the exit of turn 1? At the very end of the runoff wall, because some of these guys I'm watching from a different chasing angle tonight, they are running absurdly close to that fence.
Well, it's not an angle that should be legal because it's not part of the track, so it's something you normally camera for, but tonight everyone's taking full
about
advantage.
legality in this day and age. Well, actually, it's more about the fact that you can bend some rules. We don't need to worry about legalities in that respect because of the fact that it's all a little virtual as Craig Bond on the radio. It's back now with Alex Sikis exiting the bus stop chicane. Has there been a bit of a drama? Just checking for myself real quick. Yes, there has been a bit of a drama between Bond and Sikis. As you can see here, bit of defensive driving, which was slightly overdriven and contact. They haven't changed places, they've just lost time in the process of all that. So might be a little hard to pick up on the replay because there won't be any big flags saying what happened there. Ben Wood, all by his lonesome, was unfortunately going around. I think here, about to watch him pull it up and say, yeah, this will do me. Oh, no. That's not exactly an intentional park it up until then. So it would appear for Ben Woods back on lap 5 or 6, it might have been now for him. That was unfortunately not the night he wanted. Then looking here at one of our Whiskey Business cars, Luke King, having been caught up in the struggles. There's been an incident at turn 1 between Pete Matson and Colin Bennett, I think. No, sorry, Jordan Eitler, the other car involved. So Matson front, just out of frame for a moment here as we come out of turn 1. Oh no, Matson comes around and smash. Jordan Eitler will find the tyre bundle, sure, but it's still mechanical black flagging damage. And for Matson there, has to try and roll that car out of the way pronto to get out of things. So that might just be his race done as well. Back live as Jace Douglas looks up the inside of Dane Snadden and wiggles on the exit of the corner. There's that power in play, as you so rightly mentioned there, Adam. But up the hill will be the JMR Camaro in front of the Whiskey Business machine. Let's try and get another lap here on the book and work our way towards lap 13. Yeah, we are going to be a 13-lap race in this one, fellas. Just coming up now on 1 minute 10 to go, and your race list to the carousel. Never mind that though. Wow, big, brave attempt there from Snadden. Can't get the move to stick though. In behind Chase Douglas, so he won't get that spot back. But by some miracle, he doesn't lose the spot to Cam Chapman, and he doesn't lose a ton of time to Chase Douglas. So if he can just set up a clean run, he's got one more lap with which to have a crack at it. As Daniel Snadden has had trouble at the bus stop chicane on his own, I think. He's currently a little slow, also recovers the vehicle. But now, Snadden Dane is going to, dive to the lane. Oh no, has he underfueled the car by a lap? Lap 13 begins for your race leaders. It'll be white flag in the air from Barney. As Matt Bailey, Jackson for the race lead around the outside of turn 2. Matt Bailey with some serious big ones there as well from him. To now take charge up the hill at Watkins Glen. It's delivering here, the cup layout, as we sort of would hope to expect it. Go defensive on the run of T1. We're going to need to see that pass on replay post-race if we can, Adam, because that has happened back at turn 1 proper. There's some description through the bus stop chicane in the carousel. Slade is right there, and Luke Page through. Your podium positions are not settled with half a lap to go. It's not a whole bunch of racing that needs to be done here tonight, as they push their way up towards the last 2 turns. Bailey again, middle of the road, tries to protect the position and maintain a reasonable corner entry here, up and over the curve for both of them here as the final turn comes up. Slade inside shows the nose piece, not close enough. Matt Bailey, with one of the more unconventional passing positions here at Watkins Glen, has got the job done. He'll take the first checkered flag of the Trophi.AI Supercar season. Luke Page will have to settle for 3rd place there as he just tucks in behind. But meanwhile, it's on for battles here. Alex Seekis has got Andy Barber, Wade Sheedy. This is the Dev class win potentially coming up as Seekis is out of fuel. He'll be overtaken by Barber and Sheedy both.
It's a whole bunch of them short fuel.
Drivers, several drivers, Adam, seem to be a lap short on the calculations here tonight.
And a lot of people forgetting to carry the one tonight.
That's at least 2 cars, and it looks like possibly a 3rd there in the back of the shots. Here we go. Thank you very much. Queuing up the pass for the win. So this is the start of the final lap as they cross the line now. He's right in line. Has he gone for a turn 1? Looks like he has. Up the inside, yeah, confident lunge there. And what actually happens is he goes. So he gets the move done, and then he ends up so deep. It's half a chance back out of here through turn 2, but just pinches him fairly but tightly enough to swing around the outside. There's enough grip there without the rubber interfering with things, and gets the job done in one of the more aggressive moves, yet effective moves of the race. And with that, the opening race is done. We'll hopefully get official results from iRacing in just a moment, folks. and we'll go through them here on the screen. You'll have to ignore the points payout, which isn't actually listed there, so that's okay. Because, of course, the points will be awarded by class. But Matt Bailey, making a decisive last lap move, gets some SimSports Mustang to the front of the field. With Jake Slater in the RTX Revolution e-racing car, going to have to set off a second after getting that lead and controlling it for so long in that race. And Luke Page, well, he's definitely looking like he'll be settling into the elite class in this series. There with a third place finish, just 6/10 covering your podium here tonight. Sam Cullen, not too far behind either as well. There, 1.7 off the race win. With Jason Douglas there in P5, 4.9 behind. And then Sam Chapman there breaking away in P6 from other cars that were near him earlier in that one. Stephen Bull, P7 to make it the end of our elite drivers for now. Then Andy Barber going to get your class win in Dev there in P8 with Wade Sheedy right behind him as well. They both overtake the out of fuel Alex Sekas there across the line in 10th. Nathan Michael and Ryan Barber rounding out next couple of Dev cars. Craig Bond, unfortunately, rough night for him. It looks like they're down in 13th to start things off. Same for Curtin Nommensen in 14th. And Marcus Watson there, half a minute off the lead. Andrew Neal not too far behind in 16th. Dan Snadden in 17th. Also, what could have been with that late pit stop for him that was required. Eduardo Zamora, Colin Bennett, Dale Sharp, the top 20. And Daniel Snedden, the last car on the lead lap there in 21st. One lap down to finishing for Terry Marsh and Pete Matson. Both, by the looks of things, Jordan Eitler 3 laps down, along with Luke King. Saw retirements from a couple of those drivers, and then, the retirement from Ben Woods after the botched start going all kinds of wrong, causing problems for Mitch Wood too, and James Hardy, a non-starter here tonight. So we are expecting a 20... Oh, are you expecting a 28 car field? I thought I was expecting a 27 car field. Either way, that's how it all came down in race number 1. And much like the 25-minute feature race of the Aussie Legends Cup that we had just earlier, we'll be inverting the top 10 from those race results to get our grid for this second and final main race. And unlike the Legends races, it is a compulsory stop by the rules. So everyone will have to come down the lane in some capacity. And based on that fueling, I would suspect they probably weren't too far away on fuel as well for all of that. So let's walk you through the grid. It's going to be Alex Sekas who hangs on to a top 10 position despite that fuel run out. Wade Sheedy alongside him, and then Andy Barber, Stephen Bull, Sam Chapman, Jason Douglas, Sam Cullen, Luke Page, Jake Slade, Matt Bailey, your top 10. Pardon for running through these super quick. We've got only 25 seconds till the green. Next page then is going to be as they finish. So Nathan Michael, Ryan Barber, Craig Bond, Kurt Nommensen, Marcus Watson, Andrew Neal, Dane Sutton, Eduardo Zamora, Colin Bennett and Dale Sharp, your top 20. Daniel Sutton, 21st. Terry Marsh, 22nd. Pete Matson, Jordan Eitler, 23rd and 24th. Luke King, Ben Woods, and if we have him, Mitch Wood for 27 cars. And with that, the clock is about to strike 0. So, hope you've held on to your hats here, folks. Not quite as crazy as the Legends, but we are still at the home of American horsepower and some classic oval racing, but on a road course. The lights are up, the lights are on, the lights are out, and it's time to go racing. It's a bit of a Levensies from your pole series. He gets away clean enough, and he'll hang on to the lead from Wade Sheedy. It's too wide, too deep. Nearly 3 or 4 wide at turn 1 as they sort themselves out here in the mid pack. Looks like Sam Cullen up is going to win a couple of spots off this race start. As well in the process. Swing up through the S's for the first time now. Try and get this one sorted. Oh, Bond, Barber. No, we've got cars around in the grass. Ryan Barber's slow with a slowdown. Craig Bond at the back of the field with his front clip off the car. Try and pick up where Ryan Barber is, but coming into the chicane, Jane Lyle wants to chase things up to the place. As by Wade Sheedy. Stephen Bull is still there in 4th with Sam Cullen trying to get P5 in this situation. No moves very from the field, no 25 minutes, which by the numbers we saw in race 1, we're probably looking at somewhere in the range, pardon me, of just quickly running some numbers. 22 laps. Now, it might go 21 laps if the lap times slow up or the pit stop adds more time. 22 laps in the back of your heads tonight for this one, folks. As lap 2 begins, Bull goes for P3 on Wade Sheedy, gets the move. at turn number 1. Cullen wants to be supplied from the racing line. Can't get there, but he packs it all up behind the Rapid Team Remsport Mustangs, side by side between, I think that might have been Stewart and Chapman in the background of that shot, sorting themselves out. Watch this field now. We're running up the hill. We are sorting ourselves out a little bit here, as I've got Andy Barber hassling Sam Cullen for P5 outright. Doesn't necessarily need to be too aggro in some respects. But Wade Sheedy there, he is racing for class position, but might sort itself out in due course. But Bull now looks to be unleashed. Relative to the rest of the field. Can he go chasing the mark, guys? Just in front of him there by 9/10 of a second. There's a bit of the fan out there. Side by side, J-Mar switch. Douglas to the race lead at turn number 6. Seekers almost wanted to fight that one there, though. But he won't get it done. So he has to stay back in line and wait for another shot. And it's going to allow Seymour to get in position to take that spot. Meanwhile, Jake Slade, your race 1 winner would be, apart from Matt Bailey's last lap lunge, up the inside of Andy Barber. And clears him on the exit rider line, working out well for him there. It's come out earlier, and it works in his advantage. Page, matching these swipes, the button for Barber. Oh, Bailey has himself up high on the outside. Gets back in line at the top of the SS here. On board, looking at the back of Luke Page's car on the run through the inlet chicane. Oh, Ed and Nomison have come together, I think. Yeah, they have. Luke King, Dale Sharp, Nomison, and Daniel Sennett. Oh, multiple cars involved in all of this one here. It's going to be messy. A replay will be needed in due course. But watching here, this battle at the front of the field. It's Matt Bailey trying to set up a run perhaps, but doesn't find the line just yet. As we head on up turn 6 once again. Going to tick these laps, of course, nice and quick here in this race. Try and put the power down, try and keep it in a sensible position. So on board here now with Marcus Boston and his team Vodafone paint job recreation from the sorry, but definitely back when it was Team Vodafone, not Triple Eight. Going to try and follow Bailey through at turn 1 on Luke Page, and the space is given and respected by the 530 machine. And then wiggles from Bailey means Watson has half a chance at turn 2. Can't quite get there, has to fall back in line as these guys try and sort themselves out here in this mid-pack battle. It's definitely really spicy. Realistically, an unbroken chain from P1. All the way back to Chapman. So Adam, I'll maybe perhaps give you a chance to get a word in edgewise here to start this race off. And Pack Racing sort of doing its thing once again. Quick note, biggest mirror of the race is Ben Woods. Has got the car, figured out how to launch the car this time. It's up 12 spots to 14.
What's the crash ahead of this?
Oh, up ahead it starts. Okay, so not with Terry Marsh. Oh, but with the other AITX cars of Nommensen and, pardon me, who was the third car? 97. With Daniel Snitter. Now, Nommensen was the one who got on the radio to record it. I'm just wondering, was there something else there? Okay, we're going to have a look here at Luke King, who's... Oh, sorry, Nommensen. Yes, focus on here. Here we go. So Nommensen up the S's. This is not going to be a good look if it's some teammate crime. Oh, Nommensen understands the defense. He gets his own teammate as an accident. And then he's pushing across the road. And then, oh!
So there's 3 AIT cars in that. That's unfortunate.
And it was, which one of our Whiskey Business cars is parked up there off to the right side again? It was Luke King, who's come in with Terry Marsh and added to that accident there. So that's how it so here you go, on board with Luke King looking at the front of the car. So the crash is happening already now. There's the tyre smokers are warning that something's up. And yeah, the gap just shuts, but Luke King maintaining a decent chunk of his racing speed. Not all of it, but enough of it that there was no way he was going to get that car stopped in time. Back live, and the elbows are out. Sam Chapman and Andy Barber side by side at the turn 6. Luke Barber's been in the wars a little bit. He was up near around, pardon me, Matt Bailey. Great lap for him. I think that's back to the early pass laps. Oh, big wide run for Wade Sheedy. He's going to lose a spot to Wasp in the process. And it's as easy as they come.
Dale Sharp was let down. similar colour scheme.
There you go. Traffic. Pardon me. Make sure he's unaffected and not making mistakes. Just carrying on. Happy go. Here we go. Douglas and Sickness have actually been split now by this lap traffic. We've got Sam Cohen up to third place has joined the battle. Pardon me. And then Jacob, no lap traffic. Just me. That's poor assessment. My apologies. Things have definitely reshuffled here at the top 5 since we last checked in on them. And my apologies for suddenly suggesting that Sam Cole and Jake Slade were interlopers in a lead lap battle. They're up here on their own rights and merits. As through the last couple of corners we go once again, coming up towards about 1/3 race distance once we get to around 8 minutes and 20 seconds. So towards the end of next lap, which will be lap number 7, and they've just started. That'll be your benchmark for 1/3 distance. So 21 laps. And I've almost finished it. So 21 to 22 question all still remains. So rise the hill, up the S's, Seeker's a little loose, possibly a little too close to the fence. Oh, but Bull's up against the fence on the left-hand side. So was Jake Slade. Sam Cullen to the inside of Seekers. Not there though, can't move stick at entry to the inner loop chicane. As they wide up and over the curbs. 2.4 seconds the gap now. Jace Douglas is starting to walk away with this one now up in front. He's been given all the free real estate he could possibly ask for in this current situation as his teammate is running his own race and battling for second. It's all freebies as a result in the process here. Down to the turn number 7. Last time here on lap number 7. Indeed, we are coming up on past 8 minutes 20. So that's 1/3 distance by the clock, exactly at 8 minutes 20. And they were just rounding the last turn to put it all in perspective. 1:11.5, so we might need to redo the calculations. Can we get a quick glimpse at how weather conditions are for the folks watching? Well, I can obviously see on mine, it's rather pleasant conditions here at Watkins Glen tonight. 18 degrees Celsius air temperature and 20 Celsius track. So there's a grip to spare, if not a ton, in these cars as we're going past 11 a.m. virtual time here today. That Watkins Glen, upstate New York. Might have been a little colder, I'd have thought. Can't get much, but Cullen nearly chopped up the inside of Seekers with the bus stop to try and get a run into the carousel, but no coming of that. 8th lap of the race. Bull still looking for a position there in behind him. This is now your 2-3-4 battle. They're starting to just shake Jake Slade a fraction. The race 1 leader, unfortunately for him, not the race 1 winner. Just there, but not quite there. As the first car into the pit lane, Sam Chapman is going to pull the pin very early on an undercut strategy play. Now, in my experience and observations, overcut is strong if you can pass. Do we think we can pass, or is this going to be a strategic masterstroke from Chapman?
Well, it's a bit of an opposite. Chapman usually likes to go long, so he's having to play against his normal strat, but it's still basically a reverse strat, so he'll still be playing the fuel game of some sort. So chances are he'll be putting the minimum amount of fuel in to try and undercut and then try and get clear track and make some way. Given he was at the back of the queue, he's trying to find a way to get some cheap spots, and those guys still battling in that mid-pack area.
He'll get spots all right by getting into clean air and just driving his own race. The only problem I have is that if the tyres burn off, which they will wear over the course of the run, he'll be at a tyre disadvantage to these guys around him. If these guys go 4 or 5 laps longer than they can with a foolish tank, but no, Cullen to the pit lane. Oh, Matt Bailey to the pits, but I think he's been tagged by Marcus Watson on entry because he stops just before the pit limiter cones, and he'll be almost caught up to by Nathan Michael. Let's catch a replay of this one here with the overhead shot and some race options on this Club's replay. And running the normal race line, and yeah, just backs off that little bit more as Watson's maintaining racing speed. It's the challenge here of Watkins Glen, Adam. There's the big painted line, which obviously you could take if you wanted to be very obvious about your intentions, but iRacing doesn't force you to use it, so why would you sacrifice lap speed when coming into the pits that way.
It's
Comes with the risk.
Yeah, it's similar with the basically this track is one of the lackadaisical of all the limits in the iRacing compared to some other tracks where you even touch a paint line, it slaps you across the wrist. But in those sort of situations, if you know you're going to come with the pits, you got someone on your bump bar. Tracks like this one, like A1 Ring and things like that, where the pit entrance has a point where you got to slow down on the racing line. It's good to let the guys know behind, even though it's not really something you can do in the real world. A tap of the brake or something, or push the button to let them know, just to give them the option to run that little wider line and save that incident happening. But otherwise, as you can see, if you just go in and run your own thing, there is that chance of putting yourself in danger, and that's what's happened there.
Jace Douglas, race leader up until this point, and Luke Page in the pit lane here on lap number 10, sorry. We've just started lap 11, so just circulating around now as we pick up Nathan Michael, who is currently 18th place on the out lap. 13 seconds of pit service for him. He's just in behind Matt Bailey, who is now, as a result of that incident, about 3.5 seconds, 3.8 to be precise, behind Sam Chapman there. Blurry, but in the foreground of the shot. That is now the effective leader of the race. Unless Jace Douglas here with a good run can beat him out of the pits, and I think Douglas, Cullen, Slade are all out in front of Sam Chapman, but not by much. It's only about 5 seconds covering the cars in the very front of this queue, that have pitted in this race so far. And Slade and Cullen are currently side by side, trying to arrange things here, it seems. It will be Slade to take the lead for now.
I gotta say, like, blue's not one of my favourite colours, but the actual livery these guys have come up with this new style for the Revolution girls, it is quite a nice modern look. I don't mind it.
Matt's done right on the in iRacing. I think is quite nice, and I would say that base blue, that dark navy blue, is Matt done right. Yeah, I have to say I think it's a fairly clean paint job, and clean paint jobs can be good. And so I think it's ticking plenty of boxes for me too.
Yeah, just enough white to highlight it and to give it some highlights and edges, and it looks good.
They're going to come out behind Stephen Bull. Sorry, Stephen Bull's going to come out in front of them, as they round turns 1 and 2. Although Slade tries to run on Bull, and he gets there. Gets up the inside turn 3, and it causes Bull to drop back out of the rhythm off the line. He has the fresher tyres by how many laps here now? 2 laps. Not really going to make much of this. We really need to see 1 or 2 more laps for the undercut to really start kicking in. As Marcus Watson to the pit lane here at the end of lap 12. So is Andy Barber, so is Ben Woods. I start to suspect we're out on the cusp of fuel for a couple of these riders. Waiting to see like Andrew Neal and Pete Matson. Matson's in.
There's still definitely a fuel left because they're still 10 seconds away from actually doing the first race distance. So they shouldn't be short yet, but it's more. I reckon it's more of a tyre situation. They want to don't want to have that tyre to get too much into the negative before they put those fresh tyres on.
And there is the whole factor as well. It's all good and well having a tyre overcut, but you need to be able to actually have the time to use it, because yes, you will lose a bit of time by waiting out your existing set of tyres. And as the cycle begins to finish up, Pete Matson is the only driver to stay out the front of this field. As here we go, more cars coming off the pits. Ben Woods in front of Andy Barber and Wade Sheedy. So a bit of dev action here and in behind your pole sitter. As side by side between Barber and Sheedy, no contact, but miraculously no wall. Sheedy locks it up, gets the car on the skid, but he holds it in position to not end up in the fence. So that's done well there. As Pete Matson's going to roll out aside here. Jace Douglas is going to get one of the easier passes of his race.
I had to quickly switch to Pete just to give him that little tiny graphic of having the 1 next to his name, otherwise he was about to miss out there.
The moment of glory by position.
You have to screenshot it because it was so short.
Oh well, as long as he's listening out for that potential point there. Hey Pete, you're a P1 and we caught you on broadcast. As he'll jump to the pit lane now to get that compulsory stop of his complete. And we are now inside of 8.5 minutes to go here, sorry. Right about now, as the clock strikes 16 minutes 30 complete. So we are on track for a 21 lap race by my calculators estimate. Just watching here now, Dane Snedden up behind Alex Sigas through the S's. The draft is on, but Sigas defends all the way to the white line. He gets there just in time for Snedden to not be able to make the pass of any capacity. Luke Page, Matt Bailey in this battle as well. So 4 cars, 7, 8, 9, 10. Although Seekers deep at the bus stop, and Snadden will get up the inside. Page wants a piece of this too. Can't get there before the door is slammed shut by the 449. And then off of the carousel corner, Matt Bailey to the inside of Luke Page, gets a better run. And as a result, he'll get up to P9. Yep, has to drive it in a little deep to get that one to stick on Page. But the job is done for the Summer Sim Sports 217 as well. So now we're in this situation. The race is starting to settle. The positions are starting to be low. And it's all about what can you do with the car underneath you in this second part of the race. Coming up on the final 5th, if you count at 9 minutes.
So it looks like Seekers is probably the loser of that pit stage there. He was up in the top 2 holding up with his teammate, but he's been gobbled up by a bunch of guys through the pit phase. And although technically you could say Chapo was the winner with the amount of positions he's gained through the pit phase, he hasn't even quite regained the positions he lost at the start of the race. So he's about to break even if he can get one more spot.
Yeah, Matt Bailey looking to try and get some bit of hustle on here because he's only been at one spot this entire race. Whereas he was obviously racing Jake Slade towards the end of race number 1. He's got a better run underneath at the moment. I think he's been driving perhaps a little bit too aggressively as Bailey to the inside at turn number 6. Yep, there's no contest there. Yeah, Sigas will put up the defence on the outside, but up and over the curve. Can't quite stay alongside Bailey, so the job is done. And then big snap on the exit there. It's going to invite Luke Page up the inside. This should also be an exchange for 9th place, as yet Page deep under brakes will chuck it in. Oh, too deep. Locks both fronts. Almost gets into the back of Bailey, so before the fence invites Ben Woods back to the top 10 for the first time in this race since the very start of race number 1. We need to go to P12 if we can as well, please. Yep, you picked it up there indeed. Nathan Michael, Wade Jr., Andy Barber. 3 cars going at it, side by side for plenty of it. Here as they try and work things out. Oh, Andy wants a piece of this. All about 3 wide for half a second, I swear. So it's better of it. Michael over the grass. Slow down, he gets cheaty. Barber's going to win out by virtue of patience. And unfortunately, fellas, you've just learned why these cars can't do too wide to the bus stop.
Well, Sheedy's definitely getting his drifting license points up this race. That's 2 big saves he's had to make.
Yeah, pretty slam dunk one there that it was around the outside. It just does, it's so hard to work. The car really needs to be on the optimal line to get into the turn. So now Jordan Eitler trying to go around. She goes up and around. Nathan Michael through the penultimate turn and the final, but it's not finished yet as a result. And he's still a little side by side through the last corner, turn 1. Yep. There we go, job done for Eitler by the time we get to the first corner here on lap 17 of this race. We're inside of 5 minutes to go, folks, here for the opening round of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series here at the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. And up back to the battle for 2nd place because Jace Douglas looks to have this one in the bag for now here. Adam seems to have picked the exact right lap to come and pit. Balance, as you said, at opening, slightly longer opening stint with maximising the tyres in the second half and getting them on because these guys are scrapping and it looks like they're not really making inroads.
Yeah, no, they're not quite being able to reel in Jace, but definitely on the flip side, Bull and Marcus have reeled in the 2 Revolutionary boys. So now we've got a 4-way battle for 2 slots on the podium.
Indeed. Let's watch out to see what RER guys can do here in terms of maybe some coordinated defence. Whether there's still any signs of offense. Took a little bit of time out of Jace Douglas on that lap, but end of the day, not really enough to make inroads or anything much of the sort because they're very run at a lap. By my calculations, we do have only 4 laps to go here tonight. Now on this 18th lap of the race. Here we go. Into the chicane. All these drivers here really hitting the marks. Douglas, best through sector 1 of the top 3. Not by much, but every little bit. It's all that's going to matter in this grand scheme of things. Stephen Bull now looking very close to Sam Cullen's back bumper. Ben Wood's mechanical black flag. What has happened to him? He's towed the car away from the scene of the accident. Already slayed, not a great middle sector. Will mean that this gap is staying pretty stable. Front. We are Ben Woods with Alex Seekers in front and Luke Page behind. Oh, loose. Oh, dear me. Any chance we can perhaps get a slightly different angle that sort of shows that one? That's a very odd one, unless it's bounced off the fence, perhaps. Here we go, on board with Ben Woods, up the hill. Oh, the rear gets away from him. Oh, don't see that too often in these cars. That even these things usually hang on up the hill pretty good. But there's an example of where the conditions aren't quite right, that it'll get away from you here. Another replay, thanks to Disruptive Labs, before we go back to live. It looks like Dayton Snadden into turn 1. He's got Matt Bailey behind, but they're not really behind anymore if you're going to lose it at the rear like so. And then, oh, there goes Seekers and Page. Dodge the car itself quickly on the corner. Colin Bennett, last car. I think he just moves over here to let these cars through. Oh, yeah, he does. So that's what that one was there. All right, back to the party. And his live pictures for the race lead. It is lap 19 of an estimated 21 as we come towards the start-finish line. They've caught up to Chase Douglas slightly on this particular lap. Not much. Fence. Last for Jake Slade picks up some more time, so just over 2 tenths gained. Brings the gap back to 2.1. As you can see here, relatively steady. Gap as Terry Marsh is parked on the apex of turn 2. Not ideal, lads. And then Warrior Bannon as they come up the hill. And you're going to need more than 2 tenths and change a lap to be able to catch. There's just 2 laps remaining in this race. All right, Marcus Watson's also dropped off the back of Sam Cullen slightly, or pardon me, he's through on Stephen Bull. That's why they've dropped back off the 2 AITX Revolution e-racing machines. So, second place, looking somewhat in the hands of Slade. I think the podium's starting to firm a little more rapidly now than we might have said earlier in this one. Adam, it's now 4th place, 8th place, 13th. The closest battles on the circuit for speakers. Here we go, Stephen Bull to the outside of Marcus Watson. Down to turn 6, and then hanging up high through this long left-hander and fall over the curb. No contact as we come up and over the curb. Both cars slow down. Sam Chapman is the person who will gain some freebies. Just the one actually out of that one there, because Watson carries on. The white flag in the air for Barney. The gap was 2.2 for the race lead. And now going to have to be some big moves from Chapman to close up to Watson. Any big changes there, but I don't think that's going to be coming.
That was very. That looked very similar to the Shane Van Gisbergen and Xfinity incident last year.
Very true. Yep, driving the white lines and the curves versus driving the permitted track limits by iRacing or NASCAR. In that case, actually, we probably need to go and do a GSRC refresher on when we come to a track like this. Does the iRacing track limits take precedence, or is there a consistent league rule around the lines and curves that define the track?
So given how exorbitant this track is, we'll explain after because we've got Jace coming to the checker flag here.
Yeah. One last corner to go in this point. The Jace Douglas took a little bit of time to get to the race lead, but made pretty swift work of it here. It's now been a comfortable 2/3, if not more, of a race. And Jace Douglas will be your second and final winner of the overall and elite classes here tonight. Marcus Watson only just holds on to a top 4 finish from Sam Chapman, who makes that early stop work for him tonight. And the driver who's going to win the dev split officially at this stage is going to be Andy Barber in P11 by the looks of things here as he comes across the line now to take that one tonight. And perhaps get straight to burning down the rear rubber on that car as a result of how things went down. fact, with an 8th in race 1 as well. That was the best elite driver by position confirmed.
So back to your question about the limits. So with this track, given like how relaxed iRacing has made it, and it's very hard to reel everyone in, the rules have been written in a way that the club rule, the white lines are the track limits to a point, but if it doesn't cause an incident or gain a sufficient advantage, we're not going to ping you straight away. So it's more in that sort of situation, it still would be, because I think it was Watson on the outside, so ruling wise, because he is the one off track, he is the one obligated to rejoin safely at that point.
Yeah, the eternal debate when you come to a circuit like this, do you use the lines as a solid, consistent reference, or do you follow what iRacing permits, which can vary wildly from circuit to circuit and can make for a bit of a mixed bag? Let's talk you through now the results that they are official from iRacing here tonight. And it is going to be all elite drivers in the top 7 with Chase Douglas, 2.2 clear of the chasing pack of Jake Slade, Sam Cullen to round the podium off for AITX Revolution E-Racing. Marcus Watson, there, as I said, able to hang on just in front of Sam Chapman, who's joined us in the box to chat shortly with that P5 finish for him in this feature race tonight. Matt Bailey, P6 behind him by about half a second or so. Stephen Bull, leader of the next pack of cars, ends up there in 7th after that incident. To finish things off, Alex Sekas behind him in 8th place, Luke Page in 9th, and the last car in the top 10 is going to be Dane Snadden for Whiskey Business to round things out. Then you get to your dev class drivers, your podium for the race, being Andy Barber, Jordan Eitler, and Nathan Michael, 11th, 12th, and 13th, respectively, for those 3 drivers. Wade Sheedy and Andrew Neal round out the top 15 and top 5 in the class as well, with Eduardo Zamora, Ryan Barber, and Pete Matheson and Craig Bond, the 19 drivers finishing this race on the lead lap, with Daniel Snedden lap down there in 20th place. He's joined by Terry Marsh in 21st, Colin Bennett, Dale Sharp, Kurt Nommensen, and Luke King to go to 24th place. That late crash there for Ben Woods puts him out of the running in 26th, but he's just done enough laps, so I think he might score points. Mitch Wood, though, not starting the second race, and James Hardy, a no-show tonight there. So 26 starters and 25 finishes. Not too bad of an attrition rate there tonight, as we can now turn our attention to the drivers who are here, which starting off with is going to be Sam Chapman. And Sam, you made that early pit stop strategy work tonight, but rewinding to the start of the race and the start of the evening, unfortunately, for my fellow driver and Ben Woods, puts it on pole, asked the question of how launch. Your immediate reply was a good question, but it would appear you got that one figured out either well enough, or maybe we'll call that one a bit of a double bluff.
I wouldn't say I got it that well. It's just some people stalled the car in front of me. So, both races I went backwards off the start. So I will have to work out the launch. Had got a bit mud to start this race and then fell back to about 13th by the end of the first few laps. But, yeah, I mean, the early pit definitely worked, which was great. It was a huge amount of tyre fall off around here, but with that pack of fighting ahead, it was always going to be handy to get a little bit of clean air. So we'll take the comeback, and it's I've never really done any supercars races, so we'll take those sort of 6th and 5th finishes, because a bit of development left to do.
I mean, you're on the road, P7 to P6 in race 1, start P5 and sure, pull back, but then get back to P5. But let's then talk about the race strategy call, because these cars, when the tyre wear perhaps is a little more pronounced, will probably favour the overcut in most places. I was kind of thinking the overcut might still be to play here tonight, but I guess I was proven slightly wrong by Exhibit A yourself, making that work there with that earlier stop. But I guess, was that something you wanted to do from the outset? Was that something you just sort of decided to go with based on how the race was developing? How much of a strategy plan are you looking to put into a race like this, for example?
I usually put a first bit of strategy plan in as to what I might do, but I sort of didn't come into this with too much plan tonight. It really was how the race played out. If I managed to stay in sort of 5th position, then I probably wouldn't have pit early because I wouldn't have had a pack of sort of 6 cars fighting ahead of me and sort of taking up to sort of the second lap. So that shaped that call, and I could see that there was a lot of thought behind. So that gave me the opportunity to do that. So it was really just how the race panned out when it came to that strategy call, and with that.
Yeah, it works out very nicely in the end. I'm just having a quick look to double check. There wasn't much in terms of race control actions that needed decisions, or at least none. Yeah, only things further on down the other. So no big shifting that's going to need to happen here. So 7th is a 7th and a 5th is a 5th for you here tonight. But let's sort of talk about the season coming up here for the Supercar series here for the next little bit. And also the fact that we do have a couple of drivers that we've seen race here not be here this season, or at the very least won't be here for a couple of weeks thanks to other racing elsewhere outside of the club. Meaning it's a chance for drivers like yourself or other drivers like Jace Douglas there at the front of the field tonight, the ROTX boys in Jake Slade, Sam Cullen, to perhaps make a run at the season title. I guess any hopes or expectations for you based on what you've seen here tonight, or are we going to play this one a bit more by ear?
To be honest, tonight probably went better than I thought it would. I've not had much time in the Supercar, and it's a weird car to drive. So, we'll see where we can get to and see if we can put in consistent results and come out towards the end of the season looking okay. But not really any expectations. It's more just to try and learn, because I've been meaning to learn how to drive this car for years, but have never had the inclination to put in the energy. But given that this and the Legends are going to be on the same track, I figured, well, at least I'm not going to be learning different tracks each time, even if it's in completely different vehicles. We'll try this. We'll see where we get to. Hopefully, I can get the hang of it as the season goes on, and we can fight right up the front. But I've got no expectations at this point then.
Well, fair enough indeed. Let's look to see how things play out then in that case. But speaking of the season, could we get the schedule graphic up on screen if there is one? Excellent, there is indeed. Be surprised actually. I trust it to be Adam indeed to be well organised. So here at Watkins Glen, we're going to take it to a bit more of a tyre burner next week with the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, and also the fact that it's one CPS at a 40-minute race. So that really will be a tyre chewer. The historic layout too, so we will get rid of the dicky chicane at the end of the circuit. That just means more medium to high-speed cornering this car is going to have to do. Other tracks, looking at the schedule here, to Motorsport, almost a smaller, slightly slower version of Watkins Glen. There, I'd almost argue in terms of feel, some more corners, sure. And say one more week ahead after that, first 4 rounds at least, the Bend. It's international, of course, again, another lengthy track, and also that triple right-hander complex is going to burn away the tyres in that one as well. So that could be a little fun as well. 40 minutes at the Bend single race. Sprint round again for Motorsport. So sprint, regular, it's actually there on the graphic as well, of course. So what do we think of that, for example, just to start off the season? Or are there other tracks there on the calendar you want to highlight and shout out now as to being ones you reckon are going to be particular highlights or important races?
I think the first sort of 5 or so look pretty good, and I think will be really good racing in this car. I'm hopeful that I might be able to nick some setups from the team for some of those as well. That will be handy. As you look towards the end of the season, round 7, 8 and 9, I can see they're pretty tight circuits, and I can imagine there will be a bit of carnage that goes on, and Hungaroring and Alton Park and that sort of thing. They're going to be pretty difficult to overtake, so that'll be interesting. I mean, as will the Adelaide Street Circuit, there's no doubt, but I think that's the right place to finish as an Adelaide boy myself.
There you go. Very nice indeed. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what that does then for you here across the season, Sam, but we might have to wrap it up there with that chat tonight and bring in some of the other drivers who are looking to speak with us here for this one, and indeed see how doing the double works for you. There is the case of the fact that doing the double, it's not always going to be exactly the same layout, be it the same circuit, so you can thank a bit of shenanigans from Greg Heaney for that one there. But with that one said and done, Sam, floor's all yours. Anyone you want to thank or give shout-outs to for your results here tonight?
Well, just thanks to you guys for putting on a broadcast and race control as well. It's always good to have race control in these races, and it takes up a lot of their time and energy in some cases. So thanks to all of them, and obviously the team as well. So yeah, they're a bunch of them are qualifying for Logie at the moment in the big leagues. So good luck to all of them.
Yeah, indeed, busy night, meaning yes, we're missing some drivers that we have seen here previously taking a crack at that series as well that have raced in the gents, but as I said, opens the doorway to drivers that we haven't been at the very pointy end to make their mark known, such as yourself and others. Well, thank you, Sam, for joining us here tonight. Well done once again, and look forward to seeing what the season brings for you then.
Thanks, mate.
All right, there we are with the first driver of the night. Let's bring in the man who won the feature race here, Adam. In fact, actually, I'll bring them all in, but we'll talk to them one at a time, so we can sort of flow through things a bit here. And we'll, bring it up with our feature race winner here tonight. Unfortunately, by the looks of things, won't be our round winner because of the way points work out, but Jace Douglas will go to next of all. And had to work for it a little bit there at the start of race number 2, Jace, and also had to sort of work your way through in race 1, but got to the front in this feature race tonight, and then ended up being pretty comfortable after about the 10-odd minute mark there for you. Well done, all things first. And how did you feel behind the wheel tonight?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I felt pretty good. Thanks to all the JMR team for helping me, Alex and all the guys over there, Jet, and the boys who I race against. So it was good fun.
Yeah, ended up being a pretty tight race at some points there, but at other points there, again, it just you're able to work away a bit there. Obviously, yourself and Alex there for a phase there in that second race, you nose to tail, but not. And it wasn't a case of Alex certainly didn't look like he was driving defensively to the point of protecting you, but I guess part of the thing is you're able to break away a bit, and then he's fighting for his own spot. It definitely helped a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're still only talking a 2-second margin at the end of 25 minutes was your race win. So it certainly wasn't like you walked away from the field. It's comfortable, but still, if something happens, who knows, I guess.
Yeah, well, one mistake and you're gone with 2 seconds, but yeah, I was hoping Alex wouldn't fight so I could just get away, but yeah, he just let me go, and I don't know what happened behind me. I just disappeared, and yeah, was waiting to see what he had to say, but I didn't get to chat to him after the race, and yeah, he stuffed up his pit stop, but anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, so that explains a bit there, yeah, his numbers looked okay, but yes, did come out a little lower down. I think I was expecting at the end of it all. I guess also track like this at Watkins Glen, and also this updated Cup course layout with very relaxed, well, non-existent track limits. At the same time, I guess for maybe if you can sort of give some insight, obviously corners like turn 1 and the exit of the carousel turn 5, it makes sense to run wide to a point with these kind of cars. If you can get the grip on exit, plant the throttle, and just run the speed. But I guess how much, because obviously the other example is turn 6, you can run wide there, but you risk being in a bad spot for the last corner. So how much would you say it is with a track like this you actually want to push out to the very limits, or how much do you want to try and maybe drive a bit more closer to the lines and the curbs which indicate the course layout?
You just sort of want to just make sure you don't push it too hard, especially with this track, because you can get off tracks pretty easy. I'm used to the old layout where you're not allowed to go over turn 1, curve too large, and then up at 6. I'm used to running that a little bit wide, but then getting off tracks as well, like I'm used to. But yeah, I just changed the driving technique a little bit and just let the car flow itself, and yeah, it just got its own.
I guess, yeah, flow is one of the things that this circuit does sort of try and capture for you here, and yeah, worked out like a treat. But going to go to Barcelona, Catalonia next week for the historic layout, I should say, sorry, there, but a Grand Prix circuit of its type. Find out what the weather is going to be like. I guess that might also play a part, but notorious tyre destroyer in the real world, and probably also going to be a bit rough on tyres by comparison to here, I would wager. And a 40-minute race to boot as well, so you've got to care for the tyres even longer as well. So with all of that in mind, any thoughts on that combination for next week and what that's going to do to the racing? Looking forward to it. Going to be a challenge, or anything else you want to point out about that?
Next week, I haven't really thought about next week. More focus on this week, and we'll focus on the other leagues that I'm racing in, and then Wednesday I'll focus on this one.
Well, we'll have to leave it there for tonight, Jace. Congrats again on the race win, but shout-outs, and the floor is now yours. Anyone you want to thank for helping you get the job done across the night, and of course that win here in the feature.
Yeah, thank you. So I'd like to thank Murray Performance Racing, Bruce, who helped me, Craig, Alex, Jet, who also come over to help a little bit. We'd like to give them a shout out. So yeah, thanks for them, and yeah, hopefully come back next week and be the same, but see what happens.
Well, indeed, fingers crossed, and see what happens indeed. So thank you, Jace, and enjoy the week, and what sounds like plenty of racing for you to stay sharp with in the meantime then.
Yeah, thank you.
We are your race winner in the feature. Jace Douglas will now turn to the man who came home second in both races, Mr. Jake Slade, here with us in the box as well now. And Jake, I kind of get the feeling I'm looking at a replay. Yeah, I am looking. Oh, Adam, you are a naughty, naughty man putting the replay up from race 1 here, as we're about to watch Matt Bailey throw that bomb on you. You had that race 1, for example, under control for so long, it felt like, and then all of a sudden the move comes right at the end of the race. I guess, was that a bit of a kicker? I mean, obviously you still get a P2 out of it, but it looks like you had that one pretty much sorted for the most part until then.
Yeah, I didn't realise we had the fuel save, so I kind of had the fuel save the last 2 to 3 laps, and it just opened me up to a lot of problems. I was comfortably on pace to stay in front, and yeah, I had a fuel save, and he threw it down the inside. There was nothing I could do. I tried to switch back to make it hard for him and try and get the most out of the lap, but yeah, it was just I was just trying to get it home at that point and keep second.
And that finally explains a piece of the puzzle. Okay, thank you for that information. Let's have a look here. 30% fuel tank. I should have run some numbers on that one. I'm going to have to remember to do some more numbers for next week then, I think, and sort of hopefully get a better read. So that, unfortunately, is the piece of the puzzle we were missing then in that case. So cruelled by the strategic extras, but we don't normally see in a sprint race out of a sprint round.
Out of curiosity, was the fuel save due to the tank limit, or because you did put enough in at the start of the race?
No, it was the tank limit. I was max fuel.
Okay.
I think I had to save about a litre and a half ish.
Well, I'll look at that.
Interesting note there indeed. Okay. Well, yeah. Notes for the drawing board perhaps for round 2 and onwards perhaps, because that obviously can change in due course. But obviously race 2 a little bit more obviously busy, because you have to then start from P9 with the inverted grid, and you work your way back through the P2 once again. Obviously racing there with Sam to try and, I guess, work together in plenty of respects, and also, yeah, the new kid out for you guys is AITX Revolution E Racing, the first time for the club at least, seeing these colours on the cars. And yeah, I guess put it through this perspective, how does it help having a teammate that you're competitive and balanced with for the most part on pace, that you can race with in a pack racing scenario, or at least in a racing situation like this?
Yeah, it's good fun, especially in the practice service, because we get to, me and Sam are pretty close on pace, so we get to sort of push each other to just be that much better. And for a while there, I sort of just zoned out with him in front of me, and then I managed to get past him because he tagged the wall slightly. It just felt like we were in one of our hosted sessions. We were just having a bit of fun. He tried to throw it up the inside of one of the corners, and I just shut the door on him, but No, it's good. It pushes you to be better. And you can sort of work together in some scenarios, saving fuel, getting drafts, bump drafts, whatever. I just unfortunately didn't have the front tyre in this setup to chase down Jace, being that I pitted a little bit early as well. The race set just wasn't as quite on point as I was hoping. I just didn't get much time to test it. So, but no, pretty happy. But yeah, Sam's quick. He's getting quicker each week, so I need to pull my finger out.
And on that note, you just said, yeah, unlike what we saw with the Legends early tonight, obviously for those watching along with us here, open setups are permitted here in the Supercar series, so drivers can tune the car as they wish. Do you reckon trying to go a little bit longer on the tyres to start in that feature race might have changed the outcome slightly, or possibly similar, or maybe even worse if you ran tyres for longer there on that point?
I sort of had no choice for two reasons. I was getting held up by the guys in front. Sam was right up their backsides, and we were sort of all getting held up. That's why we both came in. But just trying to get through the pack, obviously the reverse grid, I sort of chewed up a fair bit of front tyre to start with, just trying to be a bit more aggressive. So I don't think, even if I wasn't getting held up, I don't think I could have gone much longer as it was.
And that's, I guess, part of the balance. Unfortunately, there you got to make something work for the race, and it may unfortunately compromise you slightly when it comes to the strategy. But I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles, and you made pretty good effort of it all the same. Yeah, it's still P2. There's nothing to be too disappointed about. And we have a couple of drivers that we've seen here before that aren't here tonight, with other racing on elsewhere, drawing them away in the series. So a chance possibly for someone like yourself to have a run at the club title for this season if you can make the races.
Yeah, I'll be definitely trying to take advantage of the fact that the boys are in the Pro League. It's definitely a big help because I'm definitely not at their pace. I'm not far off. I think the biggest thing I struggle with is just the micro errors that I make that just compound over time, kill the tyre, slow you down, etc. I haven't done much driving recently, and I've sort of got the bug back for the sim racing, so I sort of lost it for a little bit there. But keen to just put my backside in the seat a bit more and just try and be a bit better. But yeah, just trying to capitalise on these first few rounds while they're away.
Yeah, well, the thing is, actually, there's not going to be a big break between the qualifying series that's on right now and the main series that starts in March, because it's a 4-week qualifier. So it may be a case of we're not really going to see those drivers until the end of the season, and in which case they're way too late to be able to make any kind of championship tilt. So the door is wide open for a new champion this season, and look forward to seeing who it will be at the conclusion of it all. Real quick though, next week, Barcelona, Catalunya, the historic layout is what we'll be racing with for these supercars. Going to be, I presume, a bit nastier on tyre wear, and weather may also manipulate that as well. And you're going to have that longer 40-minute race format. So, what do you think that's going to be like compared to what we saw here tonight with a bit more of that oval on a road style racing that Watkins Glen can generally sort of provide with packs?
Yeah, Barcelona is it doesn't seem it, but it's a very technical track. There's a lot of long dragging out corners that they're basically a double apex, and they're just very long. So you've got to take them a very methodical way to be quick as well as save tyre. I found that the quick way around there on some of them corners is actually the better way for the tyre as well. But yeah, you're right. It's like a cheese grater, that track. It definitely kills them. But yeah, I did some races in the officials. I'm not sure if it's the same layout, but pretty confident in the track. I've done a fair bit of racing around there and got a pretty good set too. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, just try and put my best foot forward and be consistent and see where we end up.
Well, look forward to seeing what you can do then, Jake, in that case. Before I let you go, any thanks and shout-outs you'd like to do with the results you got here tonight?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the boys and our sponsors, AITX, Shieldcoat, Sudspeed and Kibby. Without them, we can't do any of this, and we can't really focus on getting the most out of the cars, setups, and all the time we put behind the wheels. So definitely looking forward to this year ahead. We've got a really cool livery, really rate it. Not biased at all. But yeah, I'm really excited. So we'll see what it brings us.
Well, there we are. Thank you very much, Jake Slade, double podium for you tonight. Probably on track to also be the round winner by my estimates as well. So you should have the points lead going into next week. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and yeah, enjoy your week. Hopefully see you on track next week as planned.
Thanks, boys. Love your work.
And the last driver we'll speak to here tonight, unfortunately, had to run away from us at the end of the Aussie Legends, but unfortunately, Kurt Normanson, it's been a bit of a rougher night in the supercars for you here. Promising in the sprint race, up from 23rd to 14th, but unfortunately, all those gains undone in the feature, going back from 14th to 24th. So I guess walk us through a summary of the night, I guess, and start things off.
Well, honestly, for the amount of time I've spent out of the car, when I had issues with the CPU and I couldn't actually drive for about 9 months, I'm not too upset with the results. I need to spend more time working with the boys. But yeah, just got wheel damage on lap 1 from the accident there at the S's, and then yeah, got caught up with Dan. Probably a little bit of communication could have been a bit better, but that's just on that's mainly on me. I didn't say much, so yeah, it's just been a rough night.
Yeah, it's definitely the numbers sort of say it that way too. I think, unfortunately, I feel like I've watched so much action that I can't quite piece together exactly where it went wrong for you there in the feature. You may have to give me a bit of a refresher if you can, but maybe let's start with the good stuff. The heat race. You were starting towards the back, but you worked your way through to 14th place. I guess there was the madness of the start when my teammate Ben Woods unfortunately completely botched the launch and he dropped the clutch before dropping the line locker. He's confirmed up in the Supercars channel here in the Discord. Did you get a ton of places out of that, or have you be able to pick through the field over the course of the race in Heat 1?
It was a bit of both. I got a few from that. I didn't really gain all that much. I think I maybe gained 4 positions out of that, and that was just sort of keeping my head down and not getting caught up in everyone else's accidents. It sort of gained me the last positions that I needed to go up to 14th. So yeah, it was mainly just keeping my head down and just keep doing laps and try not to put it in a wall, basically.
And then unfortunately, race 2 in that mid-pack starting spot, but it came unstuck in the incident with, unfortunately, a couple of your teammates as well as a couple other cars involved. Let me just have a real quick reminder of myself of where that unfortunately went wrong for you guys.
Just at the end of the S's of lap 3 there.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm looking for. If I can find it again. That's right. Unfortunately, you brushed the wall. That's right. So unfortunately, you've brushed the wall. You then unfortunately tagged Daniel, and then there's been other car. Yeah, Luke and Terry ended up arriving on scene. Unfortunately, so that was that one there. I guess showing there the margins have some margin for error, but unfortunately for you in that case, you found the limit.
Yeah, I found the limit. I had wheel damage. I was going to let Dan through because I was just going to hold him up, and it just miscommunicated the timing of it. And yeah, we ended up coming together. So probably a bit clearer that I can be with the team, and yeah, we'll move forward and go better next week when we're not, getting caught up in everyone else's accidents on the first lap.
Indeed. Hopefully, take it as a chance to maybe start over again next week. And let's talk next week. Barcelona, Catalonia, the historic layout. We're expecting it to be a bit of a tyre burner, and it will also be just more corners, longer race too as well is the other important point there. So you've got to make things last a little longer. As a result, what are you thinking that'll all be like when that all plays out next time around?
I'll just have to wait and see. I'm just going to have to spend some time with the boys and really knuckle down and get some more laps in. Just been a bit busy and just getting back into the swing of things. So hopefully working with the boys, I can start to get some of that pace that I had in previous seasons.
Well, yep, as you said, unfortunately, it's been a rough little while for you in terms of hardware issues slowing things down. So certainly 9 months is a long time to sort of not be driving what you want when you want. So don't blame me for feeling that was going to affect things tonight, because that's certainly what I would say as well. But the floor is yours as well here, Kurt, to wrap things up for tonight. And Who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out? But also, yeah, actually, I didn't even ask you the question on next week. What are you looking forward to with next week, apart from it being a longer race and all that stuff? Going to have to manage things with car and tyres probably pretty closely.
Yeah, it's just I'm just gonna have to work on my strategy, and I think that's the thing I look forward to. Is I'm normally pretty good on keeping to fuel numbers and things like that. So hopefully I can make some strategy out of it. But yeah, I just like to thank all the boys in AITX. Like, they do help me a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So all the boys there at AITX, Shieldcoat, Swoodspeed, and Kibby, and getting us out on track. And yeah, as Jake said, delivery looks amazing this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing it out on track a lot more.
Well, here's to it then. Kurt, thank you for joining us here tonight, and after doing the double of the Aussie Legends Support Series and the Supercar here tonight, here's for a better outcome next week in these V8s at the very least.
Yeah, hopefully we'll try and move forward and move further up the grid next week.
Well, thank you for joining us. Have yourself a good night, and until the next one.
Thanks, boys.
And with that done, Adam, that will conclude the interviews for tonight. Before we talk about what's coming up for the club next week, I just want to maybe final thoughts from you on what we saw in terms of racing. Any star performers that perhaps didn't make the podium or interviews tonight, that or moments of the race perhaps for you, if you got a chance to sort of like pick one of those out from what we saw tonight?
Probably again, like, shout out for Gary getting a win. I can't remember the last time Gary got a club win in the sneaky fuel save in the Legends. So big props to my teammate there. With the V8s, I think it was good. Like, I reckon tonight was probably one of the better V8 races for the most part. It was really fairly clean for the most part. They kept it together. A couple of little mistakes here and there, but it was pretty good. Just hopefully we can get a few more of the elite guys on the in the server and try and bolster that field at the front of the field and see if we can have another cracking race next week.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of next week, let's talk about what we've got coming up here to finish off the weekend, the start of next week, before we're back on the air on Wednesday at the very least for the GSRC. So tomorrow night we will be back on the air. I'm seeing this right here, Matt Schmicky on the cameras with Zach Caven back on the microphone for the return of the Disruptive Labs GT4 Challenge and the GSRC Porsche Cup. It'll be Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the GT4s in a 40-minute race, and then sprint format for the Porsche Cup cars heading to Road Atlanta. So it's actually a similar kind of format to this, but it is by lap count. 12 laps, race 1, 19 laps, race 2. There is a compulsory stop that I'll have to worry about as well. And then to wrap things up, at the end of the week, I'll be jumping in Adam's chair, helping cover for Joe Baldwin. I'll be joined by Greg Heaney for Disruptive Labs GTE Challenge. We're bringing back the big boys of sports car racing. Long may they rest in peace. But the BMW M8, the Corvette CAR, Ferrari 488 Evo, Ford GT and Porsche 911 RSR going to grace your screens for a 45-minute race at the Silverstone Circuit. This is considered the sprint round for that one here. And kicking off at the 8:40 p.m. Is that right? Hang on, that doesn't quite look right. I think we need to change the broadcast start time next week. That's all right. We can worry about that when we get to it. But yeah, I'm just looking at the spreadsheet. Don't worry about it. That's an off-air conversation we can sort out. So 2 nights of broadcasting to come to wrap the week up here, folks, here at the GSRC. And then we will spin the wheel once more on Friday night as the Mountain Men return with locking the track in as a Mount Panorama Circuit. But we will have spinning the wheel for the car. And we are actually going to go back to the standard 32 lap distance, because it's the that sort of 2-ish hour bracket for most cars around there with that one. So if you're looking for something a little bit more of a social race on the Saturday night, you're welcome to check out the Mountain Men from 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time with that race session. Got an hour of qualifying before race starts. By the way, 7:45 p.m. Actually, it's there on screen for the GT4 Challenge and 9 o'clock for the Porsche Cups. Join us 5 minutes prior to any of those times on screen for the broadcast, folks. So get your eyes on all of that there for this week. And then if we jump across to next week's racing, that will happen prior to the Wednesday. And of course, if you saw the action with Adam and Zach back on Monday night, it will return again next Monday with the Waste Options Monday night coverage. Wings and Slicks send the Super Formula Light cars to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for another sprint format of that one there. And then the Waste Options GT3 series are heading to Portimao, the Algarve International Circuit, for a 60-minute 2 compulsory stop race. Is the Pro Split, am I saying this here correctly, Adam, that the Pro Split will be on air once again for next Monday?
Yep.
It will indeed. Excellent. There we go. And there it is on screen as well for you all, folks. So there's your start times at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight for Wings and Slicks, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight for the GT3s. Then on Tuesday night, it's indeed not broadcast once again. In saying that, I have some crazy ideas, not officially broadcasting, but I might cobble something together, Adam, but I make no promises for Tuesday night, because we do have the Downforce Legends in the Radical SR8 heading to Navarro's medium course layout. That's not the one they raced the last time I jumped in that car in combination. And followed up by the F1 Retro Championship coming back to Watkins Glen. We've got a real Watkins Glen love affair going on, it feels like, this week and early next week here at the Gents. But that, fair enough, in the Lotus 79s, you can jump on that race there. 9:15, 9:20. Double check the iRacing session details, folks, for that one to be precise, because that is a sprint race. So get in before qualifying ends on a Monday night for both categories. And then we're back here on a Wednesday night. Broadcast producer to be determined, I think. It might be me. It might be Matt Schmicky. You'll find out, I think, next week when it happens. But we will be on the air, of course. It is the merch.tgsrci.com Gents Aussie Legends Cup, supporting the Supercars. As I said there, the national layout for the Legends cars will kick things off at 7:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight, followed by the historic course hosting the Supercars for 40 minutes from 9 p.m. AEDT. And that is the next 7 days of the week, the next 5 days of GSRC. That's just a 6 day. Can I count? 1, 2, 3 days here, and then 4, 5. Yep, 7 days of 7 days for a week. Funnily enough, 6 days of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club racing action. So plenty to get around with, folks. And yeah, make sure you jump in if you're looking to get yourself involved. But before we go, there's one last thing, of course, to do here, and that is thank all of the sponsors that make this possible. Here tonight, of course, Trophi.AI supporting the Supercar Series once again. Is this the 4th or the 5th season, or something along those lines now?
I think we're up to year 2 of the agreement. So I believe this will be season 5. Season
5 of support from Trophi.AI, which is good to see. For this one, merch.tgsrci.com, the club itself, support the club and help it support the racing out on track with a bit of apparel for yourself in the real life there, folks. And then, of course, the rest of the sponsors. What's up next? Flash Graphics. Of course, checking out John and his work with iRacing liveries and designs for just about anything on the service, and including plenty of the cars that have made appearances in Mountain Men as well. If you needed something like that, for example, on a Saturday night. What have we got next? Disruptive Labs, our title sponsor of the GT4 Challenge. And pardon me if I'm getting this, supporting the club sponsor once again this season as well. Indeed, thank you to Richo and the guys there for that, for continuing to back the club in on that one there. And my apologies for a bit of a muffle there. And Disruptive Labs also supporting the GTE Championship on Friday. So 2 seasons, 2 series, and the club on the whole. Up next, we have Waste Options, of course, continue to support the Monday night broadcasts here on the GSRC, now with this Wings and Slicks, as well as the Staple GT3 Championship as well. That should leave us with back to Trophi.AI. And with that said and done, that is your roster roll here tonight this season for 2026A. Halfway there, halfway to go with the broadcasting and the racing action here this week, Adam. Thank you very much for making the broadcast possible on the production side. My name is Tony Yeaman, on behalf of Adam Lavers here in production, the rest of the club committee, and to all of you watching along. Thank you for joining us here. We hope to see you back next Wednesday night for the Legends and Supercars, but of course make sure to check out any of the other Gents broadcasts this week and early next week if you are in for more of that racing action across all of our different series. Have yourself a good night or a good day, whenever it might be that you're watching this broadcast. And until the next time, take care and bye for now.